Well, hello everyone and welcome back to the Oceania F1 Invitational for its very own OFI Cup, brought to you and powered by Motorsport Australia. We are on the final frontier of this season's quest. We've already crowned a champion, but this one being treated extra special. We are live across multiple platforms here, coinciding, of course, with Motorsport Australia. Big thank you as well to our partners, Next Level Racing as well. George Morgan here bringing you this fantastic broadcast. It's going to be really, really tight. The final one before the end of 2025. And heading into the Christmas period before New Year. Joining me, George Morgan, is Nathan Richards, back in the commentary box as well for the OFI. Welcome back, Nathan.
Yes, indeed, George. Hello. I don't think we've actually been together this season yet, so
no, first time
to be alongside yourself. Of course, we were together last season for one of the final rounds, so it's great to be back. And of course, we head to a perfect track to end off the season, which of course is Abu Dhabi. So I can't wait to see what the drivers can get up to tonight.
Well, we'll soon find out. In the meantime, let's take a look at the season's grid. This was the grid that lined up ahead of our very first round here in the OFI. This was the confirmed season grid. Jack Humphries and Viper at McLaren, Oscar King and Sebastian King at Ferrari, Gregory Prisball, Matt Plevey at Red Bull, then Marcus Costa, F1 Ferrari Pro at Mercedes, Ryan Bell, Thomas McInnes and Aston Martin, Campbell Adams and Miauzi at Alpine, Oxchillo and Websey lining up at Haas with Riley McKay and MJ Roller together at Racing Bulls, Potato 101 at Williams alongside Yusuf Saeed, who has been certainly one of the more promising candidates this campaign, one of the fastest improvers as well. Ryan Cox lining up at Sauber alongside Joshua Lee, and this is how they fare for tonight's grid as we make our way through. Presenting, of course, Motorsport Australia Oceania Formula Invitational Cup, Joshua Lee, Apollo Pepsi at Kick Sauber to kick things off. Campbell Adams, a multiple-time race winner, lines up alongside Trent Newton at Alpine. We then go to Williams. Yusuf Saeed, as I said, one of the Stark improvers alongside Potato at the Grove outfit. Ryan Bell lines up alongside Thomas McInnes at Aston Martin as well. Oxchillo and Joey Snarf line up together at Haas too as we look ahead to going racing at Abu Dhabi. Riley McKay and MJ Roller together at Racing Bulls. That is how they line up. Riley McKay also incredibly quick. Jack Humphries lining up alongside newcomer and wildcard entry Fat Cat Batman. Then we have Marcus Costa lining up alongside Jono at Mercedes 2. Oscar King alongside Sebastian King. The Kings are back at Ferrari, driving for the Prancing Horses. Red Bull lineup with Matt Plevey also alongside Dante, who also enters as a wildcard here, and that presents our lineup for today's festivities. But in the meantime, we do need to take a look at the very canvas we'll be racing around this evening, folks. And this, well, first of all, let's have a look at the calendar. Let's show you where we've been and where we're going. We've already signed off proceedings at Melbourne and also Losail, Montreal and Imola. All four of those went the way of Gregory Prisball, the first four races being converted to 4 successive victories in the path of Gregory Prisball, and that, of course, aided him into becoming champion of this season's OFI Cup. Then we went to Silverstone. Campbell Adams notching together 2 successive wins, both at Silverstone and Spa-Francorchamps, 2 jewels in the crown in the Formula One calendar. Riley McKay then ushered in his sole win this season as well, back at Austin, Texas, and Prisball then came back again at Mexico, becoming the first driver to lose a winning streak this season to then regaining a win back, and Campbell Adams then did the same as well at Interlagos the next round following. We're now here for round 10 at Yas Marina, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and Nathan, it doesn't get bigger than this.
No, it certainly does not, and as we've seen all season long, we have at least probably 5 or 6 drivers which can all challenge for that top spot here around Abu Dhabi, and we'll be fighting hard in qualifying and then, of course, going into the race. But this track is perfect for racing in the sense that you've got a couple of long backstretches where you can make some moves, and then, of course, you've got quite a tricky Sector 3, and that requires that technical skill as a driver. So there's a big mixture of elements of what a driver is good at around the track, whether it's the fact of using that straight line speed or also using that setup to be better in some of the slower speed. I suppose you can say janky corners. It's left, right constantly, isn't it, in that final sector? Yeah,
well, this first appeared on the Formula One calendar back in 2009, but before that was unveiled back in 2007 during the Abu Dhabi F1 Festival, and that was when we first heard that we were going to get an Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and it was the inaugural race that kicked things off in terms of Formula One's first ever day into night race, and most recently also converted Lando Norris to becoming a Formula One world champion for the very first time. But we have already shown you enough already. Let's show you something from Barry Burramand, the Ferrari F1 HP Sports driver. He's going to give us a lap around this incredible circuit.
Yeah, and today we're gonna do a track guide around Abu Dhabi, final race of the season. And now let's get into it. Make sure to get a good exit heading to turn 1. And now we're going to turn 1, 4th gear, trying to hit the apex perfectly, get a really good exit because it's really crucial. And now we're going to turn 2 and turn 3, easily flat out, no need to worry about it. And now we're heading to turn 5, I believe, which is really tricky. The braking is just super hard, but then we got a really good exit. The rotation was really nice. And now we're heading to this chicane, which is really hard, but it's really important because it's really crucial to brake super late, but at the same time we need to stop the car, open up this corner perfectly, get a really good exit, which we did. And now we're opening the gears as soon as we can. And now we're heading to this beautiful section, which is last sector. Oh, sorry, I mean first we're doing this left-hander, super long left-hander, which is really hard. And now we're heading to this beautiful section, which is the hotel section. 3rd gear, doing this corner, opening up, and I'm going to left, hitting the curb, opening up, and then the second one as well. The tires are overheating, so make sure you need to, you know, be really smooth on throttle. And then last corner, 3rd gear, try to stay on track. And here is the lap of Abu Dhabi.
Thank you to Barry Burrowman for giving us that hot lap and giving us a tour as well of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix circuit. It's very much true, isn't it, Nathan, that we have seen so many young drivers coming through the realms now of the oceanic racing scene. I look back, obviously, Jack Humphreys, the shining light for so long, still is in many ways, you know, plotting the path. He will always be known as the man who charted the course for young drivers coming through the oceanic region to eventually put themselves on the map for a potential drive in F1 sim racing in the future. Whilst it hasn't necessarily happened yet, we're definitely on the right trajectory, especially from what we have seen with Gregory Prisball and also, I mean, Oscar King. I mean, we touch on drivers perhaps not featuring in the roster of F1 sim racing, but Oscar King, an engineer at Ferrari F1 sim racing. So that is at least something, and that's new territory that we have not seen the oceanic region step on at all in the build-up. We're seeing it for the very first time now.
Yeah, certainly. I think some of the biggest issues tend to be, I think, the whole situation with connection and servers, of course, with them being so far away from our typical European and American races, it makes it a little bit difficult. We've seen, I think, in the past, Gregory got, well, I won't say banned is the fair word, but wasn't allowed to race in a couple of the European leagues just due to the lag that he caused, not by himself, but by being so far away. And then, of course, time zones as well. It becomes so difficult. I know in PSGL there's a few drivers there, and they have to wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, which for many people is a struggle. Some of them, I presume, just stay up and then go to sleep afterwards. But yes, you have to put a lot of commitment in just due to that time zone change. So it's great to see a lot of drivers now making their way into some of the main series and, you know, proving that they can also be some of the top racers. I mean, Gregory and Campbell have raced many times over in PSGL, in PCF2. They've taken part in E-Series. Riley as well as many times taken part in F3. And then, of course, as you said, Oscar King over at Ferraris and Engineers. So you've already got 4 drivers there that are already nearly at the top, and as an engineer, already at the top.
Yeah, absolutely right. And obviously we've got, going back to what you were saying about Campbell Adams, for example, he is the PSGL PCF3 champion, which, you know, if we look at where PSGL stacks now, if we compare it to where we were, say, 3 years ago, obviously nowadays it's more volatile in those top 3 tiers because you've got, obviously, the F3 candidates who arguably back in 2022 could have featured as wildcard entries into PC F1. So it's got really, really tight. The deltas now between drivers are so slim, but it's now taken us to the point where that extra fine detail I think needs to be accounted for if you want to be that top-end driver. So whilst, of course, they are making these inroads, there is still some minor improvements and those grander details that need to be found in order for these drivers to hit the top end. But certainly from what we're seeing from the likes of Prisball, for example, and Campbell Adams, they're definitely showing signs that there is definitely a possibility of Oceanic drivers entering PCF1 in the not-too-distant future.
Yeah, I think give it 2 or 3 seasons, there's going to be someone from the Oceanic region taking part. I think that's, I wouldn't say it's a guarantee, but I think it is very, very likely. But we do have the qualifying session getting underway. Of course, we do have our 3 qualifying sessions, Q1, Q2 and Q3, and we've just headed our way into the first session now, and I don't think it'll be too long until we see drivers head out on track. Of course, in some of our normal league racing, some of our top level, we see drivers go out at the start on a set of intermediates, go in, wait 10 minutes and go back out. But I presume here some of them will just go out on a soft tyre straight away to get a lap on the board.
Yeah, no question. As you can see, folks, we are here at Abu Dhabi. Q1 now getting underway as we kick things into life. Ahead of this, what will be, I'm sure, an extraordinary qualifying session. Do let us know, obviously, where you think our pole time is going to come from. We do have, of course, prizes to issue as well at the same time. So at the end of Q2, we will be closing the entry for at the end of the day, the contest to decide as to who, or try and predict what the fastest time will be at the end of Q3. So if you want to get involved and enter that competition, make sure you join the Discord. It's all being done in the Discord, so wherever you're tuning in, join the OFI Discord. There is links available, so do feel free to join in and get involved. But as you can now see, cars are making their way on the outlaps. We will be back with the live coverage shortly, folks. Where do you see the pole time going here, Nathan?
Oh, you throw me in the spot because I don't actually know. I haven't commentated over Abu Dhabi for a very long time. I'd assume we'll be in the 21s, the low 1 minute 21s, possibly into the high 120s as well, if we have a driver that's just capable of that pace. But I'd imagine some of these aren't going to practice as much as they would for a normal league race, so maybe they're not going to have that extra 1 or 2 tenths that they normally would, but it's got to be in the low 21s, surely. Yeah,
low 21s is what we are expecting. Of course, do get involved, folks. Obviously, we'd expect probably Gregory Prisball to hit the heights here at this stage. Nathan, would you not agree?
Yeah, certainly. Very quick driver. Of course, you've got Oscar King, Riley McKay, Campbell Adams as well, who all on their day have that pace to take that pole position. I think as well, Yusuf Syed, who's recently, I've noticed, joined TRT, another very quick driver. He's also, I think, got that chance to go for pole position as well. But of course, it's all about getting that lap set at the right time. Most of our drivers are out on a set of the inters. One of them is out on a set of the soft tyres, just trying to get a lap in early. And I've also noticed somebody's gone out on a set of the medium tyres, which is not what we normally see at the start of a qualifying session.
No, not something we'd often see, but I think obviously just getting themselves rubbing into the track. So do bear with us, folks. We'll be bringing you the coverage now shortly. In fact, I think we can give you the coverage right now. Here we go. Yes, Trent Newton now making his way out on an outlap, of course currently invalidated, but we haven't seen any big times yet hustled in. T-Mac currently fastest though in the first sector with a 17.230. And we've got an invalidation there from Apollo Pepsi at the same time. But so far, all clear. A blank slate as now we see T-Mac slowing down on the exit, coming through the top of the hill, out of the chicane, out of turn 7 through turns 8. Obviously not happy with this hap, or maybe just had a moment coming through sector 2, but elsewhere the sector times are coming in. Marcus Costa on his return to the series, also a fiery character, has been known to be featuring inside the top 10 on frequent occasions, challenging for big points. So you never know. Maybe this could be his time to shine. Just losing a touch of the rear. Obviously embracing those intermediate tyres to kick us off. So it will not be necessarily a lap time that we would necessarily expect as we now watch as Marcus Costa makes his way around the final corner now to register the first time onto the board here at Abu Dhabi in qualifying to 1:27.156. Do not predict that as your fastest time. Remember, this is done on intermediate tyres, so will not be touching pole just yet. And Oxchillo also on intermediates goes briefly first fastest before his teammate Joey Snarf on those medium tyres sets a time that's 3 seconds better than Oxchillo's in second.
Certainly, it's MJ Roller goes quickest on the soft tyre, the first one on the board at 1:23.195. And what happened to T-Mac was he was coming through the chicane at turns 6 and 7, and there was a car on an intermediate tyre ahead on an outlap, and they completely blocked him, so he had to back out, and unfortunately end that lap. So T-Mac won't be happy. Of course, he had the idea of coming out as one of the first drivers, get a lap time on the board early. Well, he's had to scrap that plan, head back into the pit lane and get a new set of tyres on. But we are having a few more drivers now starting their laps on a set of the soft tyres. The first one being Matt Pleavy.
Yeah, Matt Pleavy will be heading out on yet another lap. Also, Jack Humphreys moving out on an outlap as well, as I mentioned before. Currently making his way around the circuit, former champion here in the OFI as well at the same time. And as I said, was pretty much the quintessential face of oceanic racing. And of course, I'm proud to say that I was once a team manager in my time with Jack Humphreys in my team at Intrepid Esports, and was always a shining light for us in his time racing. And I would sign him again in a pinch. He is just a pure character with plenty of passion for sim racing, and so do many others. And we're seeing that passion now envelop and also attach itself to various other drivers that are coming through from Australia. Matt Pleavy now flying through the next left-hander out of turn 9, and will now fly through that final sector as well. He'll be looking to try and improve on everybody else that has managed to list times already. MJ Roller with a 1:23.195, currently harnessing the fastest time so far in an RB, but now it's the senior team that are going to be looking to lay down the higher benchmark. But can Matt Pleavy do that? So far, looking at the sector times, it is a 17.7 inside the first sector, 35.1. I can tell you that the sector times are now red for Pleavy, who invalidated coming through the final sector, so that will not register a higher end time for the Red Bull driver. He will remain 12th fastest.
Indeed, not ideal there for Pleavy. It was only 2 tenths away from the time of MJ Roller, but of course it means he has to go all the way back around again to get his first lap time on the board. But we do have Jack Humphreys now heading down towards turn 6 on his first lap in this session, and I've got to say, first of those that we look at being the most competitive here in qualifying, you've got at least 5 drivers here, and Jack Humphreys is certainly one of those that will be looking to fight for pole position as he now heads his way down towards turn 9 with that DRS open. Late on the brakes, it's purple in that middle sector of 52.058 for that middle split. Looking decent so far, just got to hope that these two ahead move out the way.
Yeah, does dodge and weave through past the Ferrari on the left-hand side, now coming down in towards the final sector proper. Purple in the first 2 sectors, though he's just had that purple first sector ripped away by Yusuf Said, who I said before has been mean and quick in qualifying already in prior rounds. Here comes Humphreys, though, the OG, you could say, in the world of Australian oceanic racing. Now makes his way around the final corner and goes fastest with the first 1:22 of the session. Now that is just over 5.5 tenths quicker than MJ Roller at the top of the shot. But what can Yusuf Said do as he makes his way through the final sector? And now this time purple in the middle as well. But take a look at this. Fat Cat in his debut appearance, the first 16.9 inside that first sector. So McLaren once again with yet another fast driver.
Yeah, certainly great to see Fat Cat Batman right up at the top in that first sector. But here is Yusuf Said now heading into the final couple of corners. Was 3 tenths up on what Jack Humphreys did in the middle sector. He's got to try and do the same in the final, through the final corner, up to the line. What will it be? It's our first 21. It's a 1:21.941 for Yusuf Said, and that certainly is going to be a top time. And it makes me think there already he could be safe heading into that second qualifying session.
Yeah, this is track generation, everybody. Fat Cat Batman just having a little moment, though, coming through in the final sector, and does invalidate his lap as well. He did run wide, coming through under the tunnel, and that was coming through turn 14, and unfortunately that's brought an end to what could have been a faster lap. He was purple coming out of the middle sector as well, so Fat Cat Batman will remain in P20 for now, but we'll have a rethink. Just a reminder as well, folks, those with wildcard entries in tonight's festivities. Ryan Bell just sneakily moving his way up into second. We didn't quite catch that, as now Oscar King goes quickest of everybody in the Ferrari. 2 purple sectors in sectors 1 and 3, and green inside the middle with a 34.739. So Ferrari back on top. So it's Ferrari, Williams, Aston Martin. Humphreys now in the McLaren in the pits. He remains 4th with Apollo Pepsi down in 5th also. We also have Campbell Adams, of course, a multi-time race winner already this season and through the entirety of the OFI, 6 times a race winner. So it's proven. The question is, can he silence Oscar King's top time here in Q1?
Indeed, as we see Campbell now heading through towards turn 14, and then of course 2 corners to go on this lap in the Alpine. Of course, his teammate Trent Newton currently sits 8th, but that is with the time on the intermediate, so that does not matter at all. Let's see what Campbell can do for the Alpine. Up to the line, goes second, about half a tenth away from the time of Oscar King with a 1:21.846. A nice competitive lap there from Campbell Adams. And looking at drivers on a lap, I'm just trying to find who's next, and it could be potentially Joey Snarf. He's currently heading to the end of sector 1.
Yeah, Joey Snarf making his way around the lap. We've got a couple of others, Potato also being one of them as well, as they now head through the S section. T-Mac popping himself into 6th fastest. Decent lap on his part. We have a Mercedes crossing the line as well. I believe that to be Jono, who's just about to set off on his looking for his first valid flying lap. Dante also out on track as well. Also another wildcard entry alongside Jono as well, along with Fat Cat Batman. They can't score points in this final round, folks, because they have not been consistent entries right through the course of this championship. So therefore just making a wildcard appearance just to enjoy the spectacle that is the OFI Cup, brought to you by Motorsport Australia, as Oxchillo now marches through and takes second fastest ahead of Campbell Adams. That's a decent time there for the Haas, and just behind by 35 thousandths the top three, within 75 thousandths of one another, and Oxchillo with a purple third sector.
Certainly, great lap there from Oxchillo, as Dante has unfortunately invalidated his lap as Trent Newton, just a couple of hundredths a second behind Potato. We do have Sebastian King now heading his way in towards that final corner, and we do have a 5-place grid penalty for Riley McKay, so I'm not sure if that warrants a restart. If not, that is certainly not ideal for Riley McKay, as Campbell Adams joins back into the session. And here we see Sebastian King. Where can he go? His brother's in first. He goes up into P10. So the top 10 is a King sandwich at 123.070 for him. And then looking for drivers in that final sector, we have got Marcus Costa, but he has got an invalidation. Not good for him, as Fat Cat's Batman is now heading into turn 1.
Yep, Fat Cat Batman looking to lay down a better lap time. Jono laid down a better lap time as well. The Mercedes moving inside the top 10 and into P7 in its wildcard appearance. Here comes Marcus Costa invalidating that last lap. He won't be the only one crossing the line, though. Dante also making his way across, but unable to lay down a valid lap time just yet. Still, the bottom 4 without a lap currently laid down. This is going to put pressure on the likes of Riley McKay, already a race winner once already this season, and one of 3 drivers to have taken race wins. The only other 2, of course, Campbell Adams being one of them as runner-up of the championship, but also our champion Gregory Prisbald, who took the first 4 races, winning 5 in total through the course of this campaign. But it is Oscar King, who is yet to take a win this season, who stands tall on top here in Q1. 5 minutes and 30 to go, still plenty of time for an upset.
Always Fat Cat Batman there with an invalidation, heading out of turn 9. That is not good for him. Yet again, it looks like a decent lap, but unfortunately, sometimes goes just a little bit outside those track limits, as Riley McKay heads into the pit lane. Of course, will have another chance to go again, but needs to get back in, get those tyres changed, and also get that wing fixed. He must have got damage somewhere, as he was missing his left end plate. But we do see here Dante 7 heading through in towards the final couple of corners. Oxchillo thinks he's safe, and I think he's rightly to think so, in second currently with a 121.8. Let's see what the Rebel can do as he makes his way into the final corner. Dante without a lap on the board. Both Rebels haven't got a lap on the board, and he goes up into P8. A very comfortable lap from him, just a couple of hundredths ahead of Ryan Bell, who's just about to start a lap, sitting down in ninth. And I've got to say, George, quite surprised to see Bell and Humphries so far down. You'd expect those two to be comfortably up near that top 5.
I get the feeling, though, that this is a premeditated approach from Ryan Bell and Jack Humphries. They laid down those initial laps. They've had a long stint in the pits, and if we take a look at the tyres that they have utilised, to be honest with you, Ryan Bell's only used the one set. Jack Humphries also only using the one set. So this is a very premeditated approach from Ryan Bell and Jack Humphries. They will definitely be out again before the end of this Q1 session, no question, to improve. So I would suggest the next laps are going to be even more of a gargantuan improvement in their quest of searching for security moving through to Q2. At the moment, I would say the pressure is largely on Riley McKay, Matt Plevey, and Fat Cat Batman. Those are the 3 that have not laid down even a benchmark time, which ultimately throws more pressure, because now you're expected not just to find a benchmark. Forget benchmark. This needs to be your lap to get through into Q2. So for Riley McKay, already a race winner this season, this is a very difficult position to be in.
Of course, and both Riley and Fat Cat Batman made mistakes on their laps, going wide, and you can't afford to do that when you've only got one run left. So they've got to try and iron out those mistakes on their next run, as both of them head out of the pit lane and on track. We do have Ryan Bell now heading through the final couple of corners. This should be his final run in the session, but he goes way too wide through turn 14, and that will be an invalidation, so he's got to go again. I presume if he's got enough fuel, he can kind of slow down this lap and build up the battery and go once more. But this could potentially actually be quite a worrying situation for Bell, depending on the improvements from those behind, and of course from the likes of Riley McKay and Fat Cat Batman, who are yet to set a lap in general.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is where the pressure ultimately sits. Matt Pleavy hasn't moved a muscle either, still sits in the pits as it stands. Remember, his last lap was that invalidated lap. He sits in the pits and still has yet to move out. That means he's going to be stacking his chips to the centre of the table. Of course, it's literally a one-chance saloon here at this moment in time. Ryan Bell still sat inside the top 10 with a 122.550, but he's being joined by fellow OFI compatriots Jack Humphreys, who has been very much had a storied rivalry with Ryan Bell in the past. Of course, they have fought over OFI success previously. Ryan Bell, also a former race winner, and has actually taken 2 race wins in the entirety of his time in the OFI. Riley McKay coming through the first corner now this time, looking to jettison up through turns 2, 3 and 4. And of course now looking to throw down at least something in hope of qualifying through into Q2. We'll keep our eye on this man as they now fly down through towards turn 5. I just want to say as well at the same time a huge shout out to Matt Pleavy, who announced his retirement come the end of the OFI Cup, and we do wish him all the very best. It's been a pleasure watching him certainly take to the grid here in the OFI, and I do hope that he enjoys one final dance. A phenomenal race indeed, and wish him all the very best for the future. A big thank you to him for joining us in all the races that we have witnessed here in the OFI, as we now watch as Riley McKay dances down through towards turn 9 and now coming down through towards turn 10. Sector 3 proper. Just taking a look at the times. It's a 17.1 here from Riley McKay. The next up is a 34.9 inside that middle sector. It is looking like a solid time here from Riley McKay. He can't afford to throw caution to the wind. The light was flashing on the rear of the RB, and it's flashing again. So whether he's struggling with battery here in the closing stages here in Abu Dhabi, this could cost him dearly inside the third sector. Does not overbear the track limits, though. Goes 8th fastest. That's all he needs to do. Get inside that top 10, secure his place moving through into Q2, and McKay does just that.
Indeed, as we now have Joey Snarf in the Haas car heading through the final corner. Fat Cat Batman was on a lap at the same time as Riley McKay, but unfortunately invalidated at turn 1, so he's got to go again. Let's see what Snarf can do. Currently in that bottom 5, he's on a 123.8 up to the line. Does improve, but not enough to improve position, as we're still looking for cars coming through the final couple of corners. I think T-Mac might be next. Yeah,
T-Mac may well be next. Also on a lap is Fat Cat Batman. He's also improving. T-Mac goes across the line for 8th fastest, so has managed to split the 2 Mercedes of Jono and Marcus Costa. Elsewhere, here is Fat Cat Batman, currently cemented down in P20 without a lap against his name. He was showing signs of brilliance, though, in the early stages. That purple first sector that dialed in, of course, looking to once again throw down the same. It's a 17.0 inside that first sector, which is only a 10th off where Oscar King currently sits at the top of the shop, a 34.6 in the middle as well. So some good times being laid down here by Fat Cat Batman, bidding for a top 10 place. Sebastian King, currently sat 16th fastest, will be departing from qualifying. He will not go through to Q2. Apollo Pepsi right on the bubble of elimination, and Ryan Bell certainly not necessarily safe either. Here comes Batman across the line, goes 5th fastest ahead of teammate Jack Humphreys. What a clutch lap there from Fat Cat Batman in his wildcard appearance here at Abu Dhabi. Goes 5th fastest and enough to secure safety for Q2.
Well, he certainly had that one in the bag waiting, didn't he? Brilliant lap there by the McLaren to beat Jack Humphreys in the end of that first qualifying session with a 122.016. But of course, because of that, we do also lose Apollo Pepsi TTV. He's currently sitting in P16, and unfortunately, Matt Pleavy couldn't make his way into Q2 on his final appearance. But very lucky there for Ryan Bell. One good lap from any of those bottom 5 and he would have been down there. So I suppose you could say lucky for Ryan Bell, but that shows now heading into this next session he's got to put some more pace in, because we all know that he's definitely got it.
Yeah, incredible stuff indeed. McLaren certainly look well stocked ahead of this final race, with Fat Cat Batman and Jack Humphreys separated by a minute gap. At the moment, it's looking like that they're only separated by 21 thousandths of a second. McLaren are in a very good position at the moment at the end of Q1. But obviously Q2 and then obviously Q3 is what's important. They'll be looking to move through once again. Of course, Q2 will lose another 5 at the end of that session before then heading into Q3 where the shootout will begin. But your fastest driver is Oscar King. At 121.771 could not be surpassed, and he did it in one solitary lap on one solitary set of tyres as well. Oscar King, your fastest driver at the end of Q1. 35 thousandths back then. Oxchillo with a very impressive performance in the Haas, a 121.806. Then joined by Campbell Adams, a multi-time race winner this season and in the OFI in general, 75 thousandths back. We then have Yusuf Side, Fat Cat Batman in his wildcard appearance, 5th fastest ahead of Jack Humphreys, Potato, Trent Newton, Jono, Joshua Lee, T-Mac, Marcus Costa, Riley McKay, Dante and Ryan Bell just gets through. We say goodbye to Apollo Pepsi, Matt Plevey, Sebastian King, MJ Roller and Joey Snarf towards the rear as well. So, intense drama right through the course of quali. We've come to expect it, obviously, at this point here, Nathan, but a spirited performance by all those included as well. A pleasure to watch. Credit to Oscar King to be featuring up at the front end. But I want to give a hat tip to our don't want to say necessarily debutantes, but obviously our wildcard entry, Fat Cat Batman. Is this a sign of things to come? Is he going to turn around in Q3 and say, I'm Batman, and take pole position?
I mean, I think it's going to be difficult, but you never know, do you? If he can do what he's just done in Q1, there's always that chance that he can do the same if he makes it to Q3. But also great to see Dante as well. Both of our wild cards up into the top 15, up into Q2, and now fighting for a top 10 spot. So Q2, if we saw Q1 and we thought that was close, Q2 is going to be even closer because that mid-pack, they were like, I think 6 tenths apart from about 7 or 8 positions. So they're all fighting for the same bit of ground. Of course, you've got those at the top, which are just, I suppose you could say, just clear. But then everybody else is trying to fight for that top 10. Yeah,
they all are fighting for that top 10. That's what's important at the end of the day, folks. Points mean prizes, and we can't hammer this home enough that that's exactly what all these drivers are fighting for. So there we go. I mean, credit to all involved. Really solid start. Oscar King, obviously unsurpassed, up at the very top of the tree. That's a proven bit of form that we've come to expect. One thing we probably didn't expect is Ryan Bell to be all the way down in 15th.
Yeah, certainly not ideal at all for Ryan Bell, but also surprising for, I think Ronald McKay only set at 122.4, which is about 6 tenths off the pace, which for him is also a bit of a surprise. And I suppose for Riley, that was also a case of desperation. He needed to get a lap time on the boards. So maybe didn't push as hard, but if he did, that could certainly be a worry for Riley heading into this Q2 session. Can't really be affording now to make those mistakes. But one quick driver to mention, Oxchillo, what a lap from him at the end of Q1 to go P2. I think he was separating Oscar King and Campbell Adams. I mean, that is difficult for anyone. So, you know, fair play to Oxchillo, of course. He's got to try and keep it up in Q2 and potentially Q3.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Obviously now Q2 about to get underway. In fact, we are underway for Q2. Folks, we can, of course, go across and show you the broadcast. We've got plenty of drivers out on outlaps. Marcus Costa currently making his way around on the official flying lap, and he will be the first driver here in this session now to lay down an initial benchmark. That is, of course, if it's not invalid. We've had a few drivers suffer from that. Track limits, obviously, can be a commodity that you don't want necessarily here in Abu Dhabi. We saw a few drivers making a couple of mistakes, just running a little bit wide, especially in Sector 3, Nathan, coming under that tunnel section at turn 14. That has actually unhooked a few drivers already. I mean, if we take Fat Cat Batman as as an example, arguably could have been one of the faster drivers overall. I think he was almost trying to play it somewhat safe at the end of that first session, because he knew if he made one more mistake, he wouldn't be able to set a lap at all and he'd be starting from the back of the grid.
Yeah, certainly. Sector 3 is a weird one. I think there's a mix of maybe balance change because you're constantly shifting the car from left to right, but also you kind of have a low grip surface under the tunnel through and towards turn 14 where we see a lot of drivers invalidate. And then also the wall kind of comes at you so quickly, sometimes you've got to force a car through, you get that understeer and the car just will not go. So yeah, it is a very difficult corner, turn 14. Then of course, turn 16, the final corner, another easy place to invalidate is, Marcus Costa through turn 15. And I think that there is an example of where a driver has to use so much of the track. He just used a tiny little bit too much. It wasn't that he ran wide or he understeered. He just positioned the car a little bit too far to the left as Ryan Bell sets the first time, but Sector 3 certainly going to be a tricky one for everybody.
Yeah, I think it almost certainly will be. We've got impressive times coming across the board. Joshua Lee, purple inside the middle sector. Oxchillo has gone purple in the first sector as we await more times to come through. T-Mac now third fastest behind teammate Ryan Bell. Dante going fourth quickest ahead of Jono. Yusuf Said has gone fourth quickest. Let's see where Joshua Lee goes because, of course, like I said before, he's invalidated this particular lap. So that's certainly not great for Joshua Lee, who went purple for a brief snippet. And so currently only 6 drivers registering fast lap times here to kick us off. Elsewhere, purple in the middle sector again for Oxchillo. He was purple in the first, purple in the second. It's really risen to the occasion here, Nathan. Remember, second fastest in our last session. This is not something we've seen from Oxchillo necessarily in the past.
No, certainly not. And now he's looking like he could potentially go to the top as that was a slide through turn 13. A big save there from the Haas car as he makes his way now through into the final couple of corners. That potentially cost him at least a 10th through turn 13 as he heads up to the line. What will it be for Oxchillo? He goes quickest at 122.065, but a 10th there at least in that final sector. Very big save from him as the next car to cross the line will not be Jack Humphries. He's going to head into the pit lane. And the same can go for the Aston Martin behind him. So I think the next car to watch here is probably Fat Cat Batman.
Yeah, more than likely, and for good reason, because he's just gone purple inside the middle sector with a 34.957. Really nice time here from Batman, who now flies through the final corners. He's really unleashing the power of that Batmobile. The McLaren now coming through the final sector with the rear light flashing on the rear diffuser. And, of course, now after cementing in that P5 at the close of Q1, he's going to look to, certainly marshal the same charge here this time in Q2. Here comes Fat Cat Batman chasing a better result. Fourth fastest for now is better than what he secured in Q1, a 122.957, but still early doors. But to be in the 22s in these early doors isn't a bad place to start. And he's already in a better place because last time he couldn't lay down a benchmark. This time he has.
Yeah, certainly. And, of course, most drivers here, I think, Oxchillo could be on a new set, but I think everybody else below is on a used set of tyre, hence why they are so much slower than they were in Q1. But yes, definitely great for Batman there to get that banker lap in. A few more cars now heading out onto track to set their first laps in the session. Trent Newton will be one of the next cars to start a lap in the Alpine, currently P9, but of course hasn't got a lap time on the board yet, and his teammate Campbell Adams is also on track as well alongside Oscar King, Jack Humphries, Potato as well, all on out laps looking to get their first lap in. And of course Marcus Costa too, he's heading down towards turn 5, but we saw in Q1 and in Q2 he's been flirting with those track limits way too much, and unfortunately out of I think 4 laps has only set one of them. So Marcus Costa, a lot of pressure on him as well.
Yeah, obviously get your predictions in, everybody, as now Trent Newton begins his fast run. Fat Cat Batman, obviously the last valid time that we saw ushered in 4th quickest here to kick things off here in Q2, but Oxchillo is the man to beat as it stands, a 122.065. Don't forget, folks, to stay tuned in, get involved if you want to be in with a chance of winning a prize. Obviously, you have to decipher the fastest time in Q3. If you get close to it, you could be in with a shot of winning a prize as well. Remember, Next Level Racing providing us with some phenomenal giveaway prizes for you all as proud partners of the OFI Cup. And you need to get them in by the close of this very session. If you want to enter, join the Discord and enter what you believe the poll time will be. We want to get you guys involved. So really do appreciate your support. Trent Newton now making his way around on his lap. And coming down in towards the final sector now this time. I can tell you that he has improved. Personal best with a 17.031 based on that previous time that he was looking to set, already with a warning against his name. Not that there will necessarily be penalties distributed off the back of qualifying, but Trent Newton looking to usher himself well inside this top 8. This being, of course, the first official time he's going to look to lay down. I can tell you that Campbell Adams, though, has gone purple in the middle sector, but Potato has taken it away from him. So the Alpine of Trent Newton will cross the line nonetheless. Can he jump inside the top 10? He could do a little more than that. Goes second fastest now straight away. Decent time laid down by Trent Newton, but elsewhere, Campbell Adams looking quick, ran the final couple of corners. Rear light flashing, that won't concern him. He's going to look to carry the momentum higher up. Can he stop Oxchillo at the top? Yes, 1:21.454, but Potato, who was quickest inside the middle sector, he goes second fastest. Campbell Adams, though, the first driver into the 121s, quickly joined by Potato, and the gap now is enlarged to over 4.5 tenths between Ps 1 and 2.
Certainly, but next across the line will be Oscar King now, making his way through that final sector. Into the final quarter now for Oscar King. Can he try and topple Campbell Adams up to the line? He goes second fastest at 1:21.573. And I've got to say, by what I saw, very lucky from Campbell Adams, because he did go very wide through that final corner, but he sets a lap either way. Then we have Marcus Costa. He goes up into P6 there in the Mercedes. Then we also have Joshua Lee. He's currently heading through the end of Sector 2 now, beginning Sector 3 through turns 9 and 10. We'll see what he can do on his opening lap.
Yep, Joshua Lee, who does pack a little bit of a punch where it comes to pace as well. Yusuf Said currently third fastest as well, ahead of Potato. So two Williamses sit inside the top 4. James Vowles, I'm sure, would give a grand golf clap at the sight of that. Just ahead of Jack Humphreys, who's down in 5th right now. Ryan Bell also featuring just outside the 121s. It's a 1:22.049 on his part, ahead of Oxchillo, who may have initially gone fastest. Joshua Lee moves into 5th fastest now by extension, and Fat Cat Batman just getting his next lap underway and currently sits 14th at the moment with a 1:22.957. But it's all Campbell Adams so far, the multi-time race winner, in total achieving 6 wins in the OFI as a whole. Now on top with a 1:21.454 against his name. The deficit now between Ps 1 and Ps 2 stands at just over a tenth of a second. So it has come down a little bit thanks to Oscar King, but still more work to be done, especially for those sat outside the top 10. Marcus Costa on the bubble of elimination. If you're outside the top 10, you will be eliminated at the end of Q2.
Certainly, and the gaps are so close. 4th down to 10th, which is 6 places, is separated by only 0.2 of a second. So as we said earlier, that mid-pack and the I suppose the best of the rest, they're all so close together on track in terms of times. I mean, it's not even a tenth separating Jono down to Jack Humphreys. So all these guys here from 4th to 10th have got a lot of pressure on themselves. But then, of course, you've got the likes of Riley McKay, Fat Cat Batman as well to set their laps, who we know can be easily up into that top 10. So this could turn into a very surprising session. We could lose some big names. I think one of the drivers who also has a lot of pressure on them is Oxchillo. Was comfortable P2 in Q1 and now currently sits 9th place after it's got one chance to get a lap on the board here to stay in that top 10.
Well, what's interesting about Oxchillo is that he was, despite only being 9th fastest, he was purple in that first sector, so has got plenty under his belt, and it is largely, you know, a reasonably technical sector, the first one. It does have a couple of corners that get thrown in. Riley McKay invalidating, but bear in mind it's only his outlap, so he won't be too disappointed with that. One driver that might be disappointed, at least initially, was Fat Cat Batman, but he's just gone purple inside the first sector, so has ripped that away from Oxchillo as he now makes his way out of turn 5 and down the long straight towards turn 6. The speed trap, of course, sitting down at the very end of this long straight here at Abu Dhabi as he flies down out of the Ferrari World segment and into the heavy braking zone, coming through the chicane as well, and then exiting out of turn 7 before hitting turn 8. But it validates again, more invalidation concerns here for Fat Cat Batman, and at a very sensitive point as well. I don't think he's going to improve here.
He's got to be very careful and he's got to play his cards right with the final 3 minutes that he's got. If he goes into the pit lane now, he can probably come back out and go again, but that then depends on how many tyres he's got, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, the thing is, he's on his second set right now. So the thing is, he's had a first set that he's used, already put a lap on. Okay, that was the banker. But this time, moving on to a second set of tyres, that's 2 invalidations here for Fat Cat Batman. And now he has no choice but to go again. I would imagine he'll probably use the next lap as a manner to recharge that battery, but far too many mistakes creeping into his qualifying laps, and this is going to place Fat Cat Batman, who was, you know, really impressive at the end of Q1, to launch in that last gasp lap time to announce himself to the world stage by achieving 5th fastest. He's up against it now here, Nathan, and I must say, if he doesn't manage to pull something off in the closing stages, he's going to be in trouble.
Yep, certainly. I'm not sure this is my end, George, but we do keep cutting out, so hopefully that fixes itself shortly. But no, Fat Cat Batman up in that first sector by 3/10 again, very consistent in Sector 1, but of course it's Sector 2 and Sector 3 where he finds his troubles on his laps. Everybody, apart from himself and Riley McKay, are on an out lap. Of course, Riley's looking to set his final lap in the session. What can he do? He's up by half a second up to the line. He goes fourth, and that should be comfortable for Riley McKay. But now it's all down to Batman. He's up by 7/10 in Sector 2.
And he's purple in the middle sector as well, so unless he really fluffs this one in the final sector, he could have a chance at taking provisional P1 at the close of this Q2 session. Riley McKay, of course, as we saw, going fourth fastest, bringing RB into the top 5 equation. But all eyes on the McLaren in its wildcard appearance. Just one final corner. He's got traffic as well. And that could prove to be very hazardous for a Quest to move into the next session. But he does right at the last minute, despite almost being impeded by the Mercedes around the final corner. I'm not sure whether that was Marcus Costa who he encroached on or whether it was Jono. I think it was Costa. But Fat Cat Batman managing to pull it out of the bag and secures P4 for now. Whether he stays there, we'll have to wait and see as the final laps now begin.
I mean, that was close to that being the end of both of their sessions. And yeah, well, there we go. He's P4. We made it through, but I'm certainly sure that Marcus Costa might get a few expletives sent to him after that one. That was a very close call for Cat. Every driver on their laps looking to set that final time, looking to try and make their way into Q3. The first one is Jack Humphries, currently on the bubble in ninth.
Yeah. Obviously, Jack Humphries currently sat in that P9 bubble position, 121.994. Obviously, fine margins. Ryan Bell, 122.049. So currently sits P10. Marcus Costa, P12, 122.086. And now we've already seen some further improvements. Jack Humphries now currently sat in fourth fastest. Riley McKay, obviously, remember, registering his final time of the day. Campbell Adams going first fastest, though, with a trio of purple sectors and 3/10 now the gap between himself and Oscar King. We also have improvements elsewhere. T-Mac coming into the final sector as well. Yusuf Said, third fastest is where he will stay. Dante, sixth fastest ahead of Riley McKay, who could be at risk here. Joshua Lee retires from the session. T-Mac runs wide and will not improve from 15th fastest. Ryan Bell will be the next one, though, in the Aston Martin, looking to try and jump inside this top 10. Yellow flags raised, but Bell salutes P5 here at the closing of Q2, and now we await the others to cross the line as well. But I would say that's all she wrote. It's Campbell Adams quickest at the end of Q2, ahead of Oscar King. Near 2/10 of a second between the top two, and that cements Adams' appearance at the top of the shop. Yusuf Said, third fastest, ahead of Jack Humphries. Oxchillo with a late planter into fifth place as well, ahead of Ryan Bell, Fat Cat Batman, Dante, Riley McKay, and Jono. We lose Potato, Joshua Lee, Trent Newton, Marcus Costa, and T-Mac, Nathan.
Well, yeah. Jack Humphries, Oxchillo, Ryan Bell, and Fat Cat. Three of them from 4th, 5th and 6th is 1,000 second between three. Very close ending there to Q. There's going to be a very competitive end to Q3, but I'll keep getting cut out on Discord, so I'm going to rejoin quickly. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
No worries, Nathan. We'll be back with us very shortly, folks, but let's take you through our top end, our top 10 that we'll be moving through into Q3. If you, of course, want to get your last lap times, your last pinch lap times in, get them in ASAP. I think actually it's probably closed at this point. Campbell Adams is now your fastest man. 121.265 ahead of Oscar King. Yusuf Said, Jack Humphries, Oxchillo, Ryan Bell, Fat Cat Batman, and then we have Dante, Riley McKay, Jono. We lose Potato, Joshua Lee, Trent Newton, Marcus Costa, and T-Mac as well. They are all out of the session as it stands. But what an incredible Q2 finale. What a battle. Again, we're seeing some of the familiar faces starting to roam up at the very top. Some interesting ones, though. I'll give credit where credit's due. Obviously, Campbell Adams showing us that he is not short of pace around Yas Marina, returning to P1 once again here, Nathan.
Yeah, certainly. And I've got to say I'm surprised that we lost Potato, because in Q1 at the start of Q2, Potato looked very quick and missed out by a couple of tenths of a second on that final run. So a big, big shame for him. But of course, we head into Q3. Both of our wild cards, Dante and Fat Cat Batman, will make their way through. Great to see a couple of drivers, who came in kind of last minute as a wild card entry, are in that final qualifying session. And potentially, at least Batman could try and topple Oscar King, Campbell Adams, etc. at that chance for pole position. But we do have a couple of cars heading out on track. They'll probably be on a used set of tyres unless they did the clever thing of retiring in Q1 and Q2. Then they could have 2 sets. But if not, they'll probably have a used set and a new set for this final qualifying session. The first cars out are both of the McLarens, Fat Cat Batman and Jack Humphries.
Yeah, also Oscar King embracing the intermediate tyre for the outlap as well, which is something we don't often see at this point in qualifying, but this is just the confidence, I think, being laid down by Oscar King, I think, here at this point. But let us know in the live chat, folks. Want to hear from you. Let us know who you think is going to take the fastest time here at the close of Q3. If you wanted to enter our pole prediction competition, well, you've missed your chance. It ended at the close of Q2, so you will not get it this time. Big shout out to Ads, who's saying George Morgan for pole. I really appreciate the belief, but it's not going to happen. Good set. But there we go. Let us know your prediction for pole position here at Abu Dhabi. We have got 10 drivers. The Dante, Jono, Riley McKay, Yusuf Said, Ryan Bell, Oxgillo, Oscar King, Jack Humphries, who we're currently seeing on screen, Campbell Adams, and Fat Cat Batman. I must say, if we do have Fat Cat Batman appearing here, giving us a Q3 showing, he's here as a wild card. Surely we have got to see him competing in the regular OFI season. He is potentially a budding star because he is not short of pace.
No, certainly not. And I think he's got the pace. Maybe if he goes into league racing, he won't race under the name of Fat Cat Batman, but we'll have to see. Maybe that name will just be in his legacy forever.
Maybe Bruce Wayne.
As well for subscribing to Prime over on the Twitch.
Maybe Bruce Wayne. That's who he needs to turn into. So Bruce Wayne currently sat down in P10. I'm not going to commit to that. Don't worry, folks. Unless you want me to in the live chat, let us know. But Jack Humphries is currently sat P8 at the moment ahead of Campbell Adams, and Bruce Wayne currently sat down in P10 as it stands. We do have Dante at the top of the shop for now, but albeit no times currently registered. I could tell you that Bruce Wayne is purple inside the first sector, so excellent display, and he's getting a slight tow from a driver in front. That is the Mercedes, I believe, of Jono, who's currently P2 in your timing screen, but obviously that's prior to any lap times being fielded as they come out of turn 7 and through turn 8. And now the run down through towards turn 9. But he's going to have trouble with traffic here, Batman.
Yep, certainly, and has got to try to avoid it. Of course, had the big experience of that, didn't he, in Q2, nearly hitting, or I think he did make a bit of contact with Marcus Costa. And of course, that costed him. And I think one thing to mention as well is that situation with Riley McKay and that 5 pace grid penalty earlier on. I'm not sure if we'll have a restart or if that 5 pace grid penalty stands, which means he kind of needs to get pole to at least start in the top 5.
Well, I can tell you that Jack Humphries invalidated his first run, but Fat Cat Batman certainly didn't. Bruce Wayne goes to the top with a 121.377, a trio of purple sectors, and that first sector split was stunning. A 16.8 to kick off our first run here in Q3, but he might not be the only one. We have got more times coming through, and I can tell you that Campbell Adams is also on a lap as well. We're also seeing Jack Humphries back out on track and looking to lay down another lap, but that first sector time is very poor indeed, so I can't imagine that's going to be testing Batman's top time, at least for now. I'd imagine this is Jack Humphries just saying, right, we're going to put this lap to bed, we're going to put this to bed and look again to our next run. But you get a shortened window here to lay down your fastest lap here, as we now see Campbell Adams make his way through the final sector. I can tell you now that he has gone purple inside the middle as Campbell Adams. 34.456. 6 times a race winner already here in the OFI. And on top of that, managing to marshal in yet more podiums. 14 podiums in the entirety of his time, but has invalidated as well. So more drama here unfolding for our top flight runners, as now an invalidation comes through for Campbell Adams, which will throw more confidence to other drivers out there this time. Ryan Bell coming through the final sector, Nathan.
Indeed, let's see what Ryan Bell can do on his opening lap. He runs wide at turn 14, and that will be not a lap time set for him. What about Yusuf Said heading through into that final corner now in the Williams, currently 5th, but of course yet to set a lap. Very good banker from Batman up to the top. What can Said do? He goes second, about a 10th back from the McLaren. Then we have a spun Jono at turn 14, which means that Oscar King has to avoid him to not end up hitting the back of him as they make their way through the final corner, and I think the next one to set a lap, potentially is Dante being held up by Mercedes.
Again, another example of a Mercedes holding up another driver. This time it's Jono, though. We believe that Marcus Costa was the last one. Dante, only enough for third fastest after the 122 gets laid down. Oxchillo rises to the top, though, with a 121.764. Cracking time there from Oxchillo, who now sits just in behind Yusuf's side, but ultimately, still the fastest driver out on track is Bruce Wayne with a 121.377. And ahead of Yusuf's side, still by over a tenth. Not even inside a tenth as it stands. We're awaiting Campbell Adams to come through the final corners. He registered an 18.8, though, in that first sector. Nowhere near comparable to running a fast lap. Oscar King might well be the next one to lay down a lap in the Scuderia Scarlet Ferrari. He engineers for them professionally and now racing for them here in the OFI.
Indeed, and we'll have to see what Oscar can do. It was a very competitive middle sector, a 51.4 split for him. Of course, combining the first two sectors together, and has one more sector to go. Probably the most tricky sector of all around Abu Dhabi. A very technical, twisty final sector here. Makes his way through turn 13 and into 14. Don't run wide here. He doesn't run wide as you go in towards turn 15. And then the final corner, turn number 16. Don't go wide here, otherwise that is your lap over. Through the final corner, up to the line for Oscar King, and it's P2. Nobody yet can topple Fat Cat Batman.
Well, this, in my view, only cements Fat Cat Batman's status as P1, having Oscar King behind you, who is a proven race winner. And I mentioned, obviously, Campbell Adams' collections of victories already in the past. Well, there's 3 in the pocket of Oscar King historically as well. Has always proven to be one of the more faster drivers in the Oceanic region too, and this, no doubt, contributing to his efforts as a Ferrari engineer for the esports team. It's now second fastest here for Oscar King with a 121.404. The gap has been brought down to a closer margin. Dare I say, we're inside half a tenth at the very minimum. So impressive. Certainly is the right terminology, I think, to say here about Oscar King's performance so far, but also, by extension, Bruce Wayne, who's now out on yet another outlap with a 121.377 against his name, and looking to once again unleash the power of the Batmobile in the closing stages of this Q3 session. Pole on the cards. He's invalidated in his fair share of occasions here as Batman, but now seems to have found another level here in Q3, and you never know, it might be the level that's enough to capture pole position for the first time in OFI this season.
Certainly, and I think the only issue for him is, and the worst part is, you got Rylan McKay, Ryan Bell, Jack Humphries and Campbell Adams, along with Oscar King, the most competitive drivers. They haven't set a lap yet, so Fat Cat Batman has got to get something on the board and then just hope and pray that nobody can beat it. But of course, heading down to the sector 1, where he's always been quick, but he's down by 40 thousandths of a second, so now he's got to light up the middle and that final sector, unless he decides to bail it and go back into the pits. We'll have to see what Batman will do, because I've got to say, this is quite odd to go out for your final run so early in a Q3 session.
Well, he is out of sync from everybody else, which will ultimately... Oh, and goodness me, it looks like he's had a moment as well, so he's had to pull up the car. So let's hope, or at least for his sake, that he's got enough fuel to do a double run here, Nathan, because that's what he's going to have to do here at this point. Obviously, it's not necessarily an invalidation, but clearly not happy with how he managed that chicane coming into turn 6.
Indeed, and I'm looking at the chat as well. A few guys saying in their predictions for pole. We've got a 21.2 from Lord Mahavir. We've got Cooper saying a 120.9. SFTV Hunter saying a 122.2. So we've got very, very close bets. I mean, with the fact that Fat Can Batman's only a 10th off, I'm starting to think you've got to be looking at the 20s, surely, because I'm sure that Batman and all the others that are yet to set a lap of at least 3 tenths in their laps.
And look at this, he's coming into the pits, so whether he's going to have enough time to jump in and go straight out again, I'm not quite sure, but this is a huge risk here for Fat Cat Batman. He might yet have enough time, but he's going to have to really send it on his outlap if he wants to get another lap in. I can tell you that various drivers are now making their way out, and he has retired, so no final lap will be laid down by Fat Cat Batman. Bruce Wayne unable to levy in another lap prior. Obviously, I mean, invalidating errors that have been creeping in have been handcuffing Bruce Wayne up to this point. He now sits in the pits, does hold provisional P1, provisional pole position, but does he take it, chat? Let us know.
Well, isn't this what they call in the scene an ego retire?
I'm not sure whether it is. I just think it's a mistake. He just believes that he hasn't got enough time. Obviously, he didn't have enough fuel, because if he did, he would have stayed out and maybe even conserved some and laid down one final lap before the end of quali. I mean, we have seen it before where drivers will take a set of tyres for 2 runs on an out lap before then laying down a fast lap. We see it continuously in PSGL PCF1. So it looks like the Fat Cat Batman has, by all intents and purposes, ran out of fuel. And in fact, I think my point has been confirmed. Big thank you to MTE Broadstaff 1, or Broadster F1. Really appreciate your point. Yeah, he said in VC he doesn't have enough fuel. So there we are, confirming our points here in the commentary box. So it will not be a final run laid out by Fat Cat Batman, which means that everybody else has a chance to take pole away from Bruce Wayne at the moment. I can tell you that Yusuf Said has just come around the final corner and commenced that final run. Also, Jack Humphreys on a lap as well, coming out of turn 5, now dashing down towards turn 6.
Indeed, a nice opening sector from Humphreys, a 16.9 for him, and that's a very decent way to start off your lap. But of course, you've still got Sector 2 and Sector 3 to go as he makes his way down to the chicane at Turn 6 and Turn 7. Flick the car in, then on the exit, be careful not to run wide. He does a brilliant job there. And through Turn 8 and heading down towards Turn 9. Of course, DRS is open through this stretch of the circuit. What will it be here for Jack in that middle sector? It's a 51.5. That's around a tenth off what we saw from Oscar King, but of course there's still a sector to go here for Humphreys to try and launch for pole position.
Yep, 69.34.5. This is a personal improvement, but does need to find a little bit extra. He is slightly off the top time laid out already by Bruce Wayne, 34.4 inside that middle sector, and again over a tenth and a half away from Bruce Wayne's first sector time too. But in comes Humphreys now around the final corner. We'll look to cross the line to go to the front row, but can't. Second row is where he'll stay, 4th fastest here to kick us off. Now Campbell Adams comes through with a purple middle sector, 34.4 after the 16.8. He managed to muscle in inside sector 1 as Oscar King now sits second with Yusuf Said. 3rd fastest Riley McKay, 4th now as Yusuf Said will remain 3rd fastest for now as he crosses the stripe. In comes Campbell Adams now, looking to flurry in. One last gasp at a potential pole this season in OFI, and he does! A 121.175 for the unsurmountable Campbell Adams. A really, really strong lap ahead of Fat Cat Batman by over 0.2 of a second as we now await Oxchillo in the final sector.
Indeed, as Ryan Bell as well is on a lap. He's currently 10th. Let's see what Ryan Bell can do. A very competitive sector 2. One final corner to go up to the line. He goes into P7. Oxchillo competitive in Q1 up to the line. He goes into P7. And now it's down to Oscar King up to the line. Can he take that P2? No. So it's Bruce Wayne, Fat Cat Batman, P2. What a start to his OFI career.
And it's a return to the top for Campbell Adams. What a stunning display from what is certainly, well, just look at that matching times in 2nd and 3rd place as well. Campbell Adams a 121.175. 0.2 away then is Fat Cat Batman, Bruce Wayne, launching a 121.377 that was matched to the 1,000th by Oscar King in 3rd as well. But because Batman sets it first, he gets the front row. Then there's Yusuf Said in 4th, Riley McKay in 5th, Jack Humphreys in 6th, Oxchillo 7th, Ryan Bell in 8th, Dante in 9th, and it's Jono in P10. But what an incredible session, folks. What an incredible battle. Campbell Adams returning to the top, a position he is oh so used to, but joined now by Bruce Wayne on the front row. Can anyone stop Batman here in this case? Maybe the Joker.
Well, at the end of Q1, we were thinking, oh, we don't think he'll go through. He's not set a lap time. Then he goes 5th. In Q2, we're thinking, oh, he's probably not going to improve. He's made more and more mistakes than he does. And, well, somehow ends up on the front row of the grid. Brilliant job by the McLaren. But, of course, he's got a long race to go, 29 laps around this circuit. That's definitely going to be a challenge to keep up with that consistent pace. And also, because of those invalidations, he's got to be careful in the race. 3 of those. And that's a 3-second time penalty. Yeah,
of course, folks, don't forget, if you did not get a chance to enter our qualifying contest to win some fantastic Next Level Racing giveaways, well, you can, of course, partake in our next competition, which will be announced, unveiled. The winner will be unveiled at the very end of the race indeed. So if you want to enter, be sure to join the OFI Discord and be in with a chance of winning. Of course, all the details there. Slammer is in the live chat as well, providing you with the necessary links too, should you want to join the Discord and stay up to date with our next competition here tonight. In the meantime, we're just going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Well, folks, we are back and live here at the OFI Cup, brought to you and powered by Motorsport Australia and brought to you also by our fine partners at Next Level Racing as well. What a qualifying session we did witness. Of course, fastest come the end of play. We witnessed, it was just an immense fight towards the very end. Campbell Adams, though, rising to the top once more, taking an incredible pole at Abu Dhabi, but joined on the front row by Bruce Wayne, Fat Cat Batman. We look forward to seeing who's going to land the crucial blow in the race as well. Plenty of laps to bring you, of course, a strategy test as well as pure speed on the line. Of course, just a quick reminder as to where we've been and where we've gone here in the OFI. Gregory Prisball taking the first 4 race wins at Melbourne, Losail, and also Montreal and Imola. Campbell Adams then rushed in 2 successive victories in Silverstone and Spa to mark rounds 5 and 6, and then it was the turn of Riley McKay to become our 3rd different race winner this season before a return from Gregory Prisball to the top at Mexico and Campbell Adams to the top at Interlagos. Who's going to win at Yas Marina? Who knows? We're about to find out, folks, as we go racing here once more. Elsewhere, of course, a little reminder as to where the standings currently sit at the close of play this season. This is how it looked after Brazil. Of course, it was Gregory Prisball who marched out as your champion on 181 points. Of course, not racing here this evening, but nonetheless, he did what needed to be done, finishing ahead of Campbell Adams, and now Gregory Prisball becoming champion once more, equaling the tally nestled in by Jack Humphreys. That is 3 championships for the pair of them, standing tall at the top of the tree. Campbell Adams, of course, a former champion of the OFI, also 2nd place coming off the back of Sao Paulo, and then Riley McKay sitting in 3rd ahead of Oscar King, who could yet flurry more points into his championship offering come the close of play, but it certainly will not be enough here at this point to break into that top 3. Yusuf Said down in 5th, having largely one of his best campaigns to date as well. Really, really sharp. Aside from the championship that, of course, he did win, this has definitely been a voyage of discovery, really, for Yusuf Said, ahead of Jack Humphreys, as I said, 3-time OFI winner, and then Oxchillo, Ryan Bell, also a former winner in the OFI, Trent Newton, and Thomas McInnes down inside that top 10 as well. Just a reminder of the last race results as well at Brazil. This is where they stacked up. Campbell Adams was the winner last time out, finishing 4.4 seconds clear of Yusuf Said in 2nd. Websey down in 3rd as well. Joshua Lee 4th. Elsewhere, we do have Oxchillo, then Ryan Bell, Jack Humphreys down in 7th, Thomas McInnes in 8th ahead of Trent Newton, and Matt Pleavy in 10th place as well. So that concluded our race at Sao Paulo. Of course, Brazil known to offer some great racing, as it often does. Obviously, credit to Gregory Prisball. He's been unsurmountable this season, Nathan, really. I mean, the first 4 races really were the decisive measure, I think, that's largely been put in to the OFI this season, and that is exactly why he's champion.
Yeah, certainly. I think heading into it, he was always a driver that was at the top of my radar for going for the championship. A very quick driver. You know, has always been cemented at the top of PCF2 over in PSGL. So he was always one that you're looking at and you're thinking he's definitely got a chance to go for the championship. And I think having those first 4 wins on the bounce already, the likes of Campbell Adams, Oscar King, that championship probably is out of their minds, and that then allows Gregory just to relax a little bit, just keep some consistent results going, and then, of course, wrap it up with a race to go, of course, last time out in Brazil. But, of course, George, we do have our pole position prediction. We have the winner. I'm not sure if you want to announce it now. We're at the end of the stream. But, of course, we can do that whenever you're ready.
Well, I mean, we could look at announcing that now, as I understand it. Bear with me, folks. We will, of course, unveil it to you now. I know that Slammer has unveiled the winner to me. Just waiting for my Discord to load on my laptop at this moment in time, just so I can unveil said winner. I mean, come on. Let's get this in the bag, shall we? Slammer, what have you got for us? Just bear with me a minute, folks. Here we go. I can tell you that the closest prediction was a 121.201. Your winner of the pole lap prediction is T-Mac, the driver of Aston Martin, pulling off a 121.201. That is confirmed our winner of our first giveaway here at the Next Level Racing. In terms of the Next Level Racing giveaway. So, T-Mac, congratulations. You are the winner of our first contest that we have unveiled here so far. We do have one more to bring you as well come the end of the show. So do stay tuned, get involved in the OFI Discord, and you can obviously be in with a chance of winning. And just to answer Dano's question inside the OFI Twitch chat, if you're in the OFI Discord, you will be able to enter. You don't enter through the chats, you enter through the Discord. So make sure you go to the Discord to enter, because of course we're not just one chat here for today's broadcast. We are live across multiple channels. So if you want to get involved, of course, remember we are powered by Motorsport Australia. We are live with Motorsport Australia as well. If you are tuning in, if you want to get involved in our prize giveaways, join the OFI Discord. Slammer, of course, the CEO, the chief of the series, is supplying the links to join said Discord as well. So get involved. Really do appreciate your support. Obviously now we can look at our lineups tonight. Little reminder as to how tonight's grid looks. This is the OFI Cup lineup here ahead of Abu Dhabi. Joshua Lee and Apollo Pepsi at Kick Sauber. They line up for the green team. Then Alpines, Campbell Adams and Trent Newton. Campbell Adams looking to take yet another race win after taking pole already this morning. Yusuf Said in the Williams alongside Potato. Ryan Bell and Thomas McInnes in the Aston Martin. Then onwards, Haas, Oxchillo, who's also been impressive, alongside Joey Snarf, who'll be starting from the back of the grid. Here this time, Riley McKay and MJ Roller at Racing Bulls. We then move across to McLaren. Jack Humphreys, 3 times an OFI Cup champion, alongside Bruce Wayne. Fat Cat Batman will be lining up on the front row as well. Marcus Costa and Jono amassing together at Mercedes. Oscar King and Sebastian King. The Kings are back at Scuderia Ferrari, driving for the Prancing Horse. Matt Plevey and Dante also representing Red Bull, and will be looking to put in a good steady stint here this time, going racing here at the OFI Cup. Slammer very kindly has put the links to the Discord as well in the Twitch chat. If you want to get involved and enter the competition, please join that link and get involved if you want to be a winner. We're just about to get ready for our final race, and we'll take you through the track map once again. Yas Island, Abu Dhabi, the home of Yas Marina circuit, first appearing on the Formula One calendar back in 2009, first announced at the Abu Dhabi F1 Festival back in 2007, 2 years prior to that first race, and the inaugural race that was at Formula One's first foray into day into night racing. And, of course, most recently crowned Lando Norris a world champion. This circuit obviously providing us with plenty, with 5.281 kilometres in length, 3.281 miles as well in total. 2 DRS zones to take note of. That is between turn 5 and turn 6. And then later, turn 7 in towards turn 9. And then you make your way in towards the third sector, where it gets very technical. A little bit of technicality coming through turn 1, 2, 3 and later turns 4, with the elevation changes factored in as well. But largely in that final sector, it is just mainly a slalom with no elevation changes whatsoever. A track with everything, Nathan.
Yeah, certainly. It's going to be a great final venue for this season to round everything off. Of course, we do have our champion, but we are still yet to crown a winner of the final round of the championship. And drivers, they were just waiting to start to load in. We've got a few drivers now clicking that ready up button, so we should be good to go shortly. And of course, George, if I'm correct, you was at this circuit, wasn't you, a couple of weeks back?
I was. I was actually, funny enough, I got some incredible stories to tell about my trip to Abu Dhabi. Mainly, obviously kicking things off, I introduced Charles Leclerc to the stage at the Ferrari World Yas Island Abu Dhabi, which was obviously an immense privilege. Zhou Guanyu was with us as well. I also had the opportunity to hang around with the F1 TV crew behind, and just next door. Ended up playing some incredible. I'm not sure whether you've seen the BBC Traitors, but that's what we were playing behind the scenes at Yas Marina at the close of play. And it's just a phenomenal bunch. Laura Winter, Hinchy, and also Jolyon Palmer, and at the same time, as well, Ariana Bravo and Tom Deacon. It was a pleasure to be with those guys. But yeah, what a week of racing. I mean, the Ferrari HB Sports Championship was spectacular. Obviously, congratulations to all those that took part. Of course, I'm sure many of these drivers looking to ascend to that same status, obviously driving for the likes of Ferrari, maybe other F1 sim racing teams. And with F1 sim racing just around the corner, it really does stoke, I think, inspiration for various talents that take part in this particular series as well, Nathan, to take part and almost find that next level to later become an F1 sim racing driver.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's the same as when, like, you see the football season start. Everybody all of a sudden wants to be a footballer. And it's the same with this. Once that sim racing season begins and you start to get those rivalries and, you get to the cars out on track and battling for the championship, everybody wants to get involved. And yet again, everybody then picks up the game and starts taking part in the racing. And, of course, drivers here, Oscar will be off to esports, I'd imagine, with Ferrari. And then give it a season or two, you're going to have the likes of Gregory, Campbell, maybe, be in the position to take part as a driver themselves. Yeah, you simply never know. And get your predictions in, folks, as to who you think is going to land a big W here at Abu Dhabi. Of course, get your predictions in. Nathan, I'm going to ask you, what's your prediction? You know what? We're going to go for it for the sake of it. Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne is going to win in accordance to Nathan Richards. Is he going to land, well, should we say the Batmobile on the top step of the podium? We will wait and see. And will the Joker step in and stop it from happening? Bear in mind, he's had his issues during qualifying as Batman, just breaching those track limits on a few occasions, losing out that final lap for Ray, which could have landed in pole come the close as well. He was quickest, if you remember, in that first sector on that final lap, but it was Oscar King, well, not Oscar King, I should say, Campbell Adams, who broke the spell. As now we are set to race here at Abu Dhabi for the final time in the OFI Cup. It's OFI Season 8 and we put pedal to the metal and it's go! Go, 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 go! Great start for Campbell Adams, but equally getting a good start as well is Bruce Wayne. He's looking up the inside now. Batman looking to take P1 now in the initial, and he does take it! It's Batman who leads. Campbell Adams in second, Oscar King in third place as well. Yusuf Said down in fourth too, as now we see them come down in towards turn 5. It's Batman, Adams further back. In comes Yusuf Said for a move this time on Oscar King. The Williams are going to verge up against the Ferrari as they now dance down this long straight, but King doing enough to prevent the Williams from making the move. It's Batman who leads though, Nathan.
Certainly, and Campbell Adams back up the inside in towards turn 6, looking to get ahead of the McLaren. They go side by side through towards turn 7, and Bruce Wayne still keeps the lead. A brilliant overtaking opportunity there for Campbell Adams, but couldn't quite take it further back as well. Yusuf Said looking to make a move, tries to get up into third ahead of Oscar King, who's up the inside here of Campbell Adams in towards turn 9. Campbell Adams now looking to make a move ahead of Fat Cat Batman.
Yeah, Batman trying to hold on, but back comes Adams again. They're wheel to wheel through the entirety of this lap so far, and Adams with a crushing blow coming through into sector 3 proper as they now verge through turn 14. They now only have a handful of corners left to take, and that is turns 15 and 16 as they now await to come around the final corners. Now it's time to end lap 1 and start lap 2. Adams in the ascendancy, retaking that P1 spot after losing it in the initial stages of lap 1. Fat Cat Batman cementing himself in the second, but still on the tail. I can tell you that everyone is adopting that medium compound of tyre, and I get the feeling, Nathan, that's a missed opportunity for others on the grid that probably should have started on a hard tyre.
Yeah, certainly. I think those further down could have definitely gone for a hard medium and just tried something different, but unfortunately they haven't, so it's a medium hard, I presume, for everybody on the grid here tonight as we head our way back down towards turn 6, and Yusuf Said closing in on the back of Oscar King, for I don't think he'll be quite close enough to make an overtake. Whereas further back we do have Trent Newton on the back of Marcus Costa as they head into the braking zone. Costa goes for a defensive manoeuvre. Trent Newton's going to look for the outside line, but he can't do so, has to rejoin behind as they make their way out of turn 7. And then looking further ahead as well, Oscar King once again closing in on the back of Batman in towards turn 9. And I think the main overtaking spots here, and the only real overtaking spots, are turn 6 and turn 9.
Yeah, well, Oscar King, whilst he was looking threatening on the back of Bruce Wayne, he's now invited Yusuf Said into, well, first contact with him over P3. Riley McKay down in 5th as well, just ahead of Jack Humphreys, with Dante in 7th as well. Jono down in 8th. 2 Mercedes currently adopting 2 places inside the bottom 3 places inside the top 10. As Trent Newton currently sits in 11th as well, only a couple of tenths away. Also, Joshua Lee trying to close on the back of Trent Newton as they come through the final corner at turn 16. Now look to begin lap 3 of 29 as they venture through turn 1. It is still Campbell Adams, though, in front. And I think at the moment, if you're Batman, you're just quite happy to just allow him to continue, benefit off the toe, utilising that DRS, and at the same time that defends you against Oscar King in behind.
Certainly, and Oscar's obviously got some pace, but he hasn't quite looked that electric as we would have expected. So Fat Cat Batman has a decent gap just to keep consistent ahead of Oscar King as we see there. Batman just moving out of that slipstream, helping that engine cool down so he gets the maximum power that he can do in that Mercedes machinery. So we make our way out of turn 7 again and back down towards turn 9. Of course, this is on most laps an opportunity to make a move. If you're within 3 tenths here, you've got a great chance of launching up the inside to go ahead. Of course, you can see Batman's a little bit too further back this time around, as unfortunately we've lost Potato, who's retired in the pit lane, I believe, on a hard tyre. So that is Potato's race over really before it started. As once again their defence from Marcus Costa not allowing Trent Newton through, but Joshua Lee is looking to make a move as well.
Yeah, also Trent Newton was side by side with Marcus Costa coming through the final sector. Unfortunately for Newton, just was on the wrong side at turn 9 really, and ended up taking the long way round, which invited Joshua Lee into the scrap instead. But nonetheless, no changes to the order so far. It's still Adams and Fat Cat Batman at the top of the tree right now, towing along Oscar King, and by extension Yusuf Said. It's DRS all the way down to 19th place. We have lost Potato, just to further the points across there. Nathan, the Williams is out, and that is a retirement for him. As now we watch the drivers make their way down through towards turn 5. Riley McKay still giving chase after Yusuf Said in the RB. So now whip the tails out before exiting out of turn 5, down through towards turn 6, where the chicane ultimately begins. Joshua Lee just trying to follow in the wheel tracks of Trent Newton, who was just trying to break out of the aero, maybe in an attempt to cool the tyres down. Batman getting really close to the rear diffuser of Campbell Adams once again, as they now take the turn out of turn 7 through turn 8. They now head down through towards turns 9 and later turns 10. The DRS open again for Bruce Wayne. Still not opting to make the move, just trying to drift outside of the aero. Ideally, just trying to protect himself against Oscar King. And they start to concertina up, coming out of turn 9 in towards turn 10, with Yusuf Said also part of this as well. And Riley McKay waiting in the wings as Bruce Wayne takes another look at the inside of Adams, but opting not to make the move. But they're getting tighter up at the front end.
Certainly, and I think the issue here that Batman has is over the past or two, every time they head down towards turn 9, King has brought that gap down, and that then forces Batman to have to close onto the back of Campbell Adams, otherwise he's at risk of being overtaken. So once one goes for a move, they've all got to start looking at moves on each other just to keep and withhold their positions. Of course, with all of this, it has allowed Riley McKay to close in. Jack Humphrey as well, waiting in P6. And I've noticed as well, not sure what's happened to Ryan Bell, but he's dropped down to 18th. I think he's got damage as well on the Aston Martin, and that is certainly not the way he would have been imagining these first opening laps. That 5 in, and he's already down to 18th.
Yeah, not a welcome return at all here for Ryan Bell. So now Oscar King breaks out of the aero this time. Not being pursued though by Yusuf Said. He's not going to follow suit. So we now take a look from the front wing of Fat Cat Batman as they come through through turn 6, later turn 7, turn 8 to come next, with the power of DRS now available to him. Looks like Campbell Adams is trying to break this toe at the moment. I think he knows, much like we've discussed here, Nathan, that if Batman just stays in behind, he's just able to save that battery, save the tyres, and therefore become more of a threat to Campbell Adams later on. Now, whilst there's no disparity in terms of tyres used as Joey Snarf moves past Ryan Bell really in free fall at the moment. Joey Snarf now up into 18th place. Ultimately, whilst they're all on the same tyres and there's no disparity in terms of strategy in that sense, it's really who is going to be fastest coming into the pit lane, who's going to be fastest actually making the physical stop. That is ultimately the decisive moment here.
It certainly is, and I think once so obviously these drivers probably do data checks, and once they know the amount of laps you can do on a hard tyre, there'll definitely be a driver or two that'll hit as early as possible. Go for extreme undercut, bring that gap down, so then their main thing to do at the end of the race is defend rather than attack. Some drivers will go really long. They'll go as long as they can on the mediums, just to have that shorter hard stint to push on later on. So it just depends here what the drivers are comfortable with. Would they rather have to defend on old tyres or attack on new tyres? So once we know that crossover point of when the hards can go to the end, that's when we'll start to see some of those decisive pit stops. I think maybe lap 10 we could see pit stops maybe a little bit later, but of course until then it's just stay in your train, don't lose time, and just hold your position.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it just a little bit later than that. Maybe lap 12 potentially could be the case. At least then that gives you like another 4 laps of racing. I would imagine we're probably looking at around lap 12 where we'll see that first pit stop. But that doesn't mean to say that we won't see someone box really early. We've seen a little bit of that already so far this season, where drivers have gone against the grain largely. But that has meant that despite them being perhaps quicker in the initial, I mean, we've got to remember the hard tyre is a great race tyre, no question about it. But it's when you choose to utilise it that makes the difference. One thing I will say is that no matter who boxes first, whether you're Campbell Adams or Fat Cat Batman or even Oscar King, and by extension the rest of the field, you can almost guarantee there will be a response the next lap. Because obviously if Batman was to box first and take the benefit of fresher tyres at the start of his stint, Campbell Adams is going to want to respond straight away in order not to lose too much time. against Batman. And the same by extension if the roles were reversed. If Campbell Adams was to box first, then no question Batman is going to look to follow suit, maybe even follow him into the pits or the next lap around to reduce the chance of a deficit in time to box next in order to try and reduce as much of the pain as possible. As now Oscar King gets closer and closer to the back of Fat Cat Batman. He drifts out of the aero. Now Oscar King looking to perhaps catch him unawares. Late on the brakes here from Bruce Wayne, but certainly nothing to distract the approach taken here by Campbell Adams. There's still 4.5 tenths or so between them inside the front two, but Oscar King now starting to turn on the style here and drift a little bit closer to the back of the McLaren. And again, King looking to the outside now as they look to go potentially wheel to wheel, but I think that's more of a dummy being sent here by Oscar King, maybe just to unsettle him, as now Jack Humphreys moves into 5th, and Riley McKay with a big mistake also loses out to Dante and now drops to P7.
Indeed, and that is not good at all for Riley McKay, down below one of our wildcard drivers. Dante up into the top 6 for Red Bull, his teammate Matt Cleary down in 17th, as we also have seen Ryan Bell into the pit lane. I presume that is to change that damaged front wing. Well, he's re-entered on a new set of hard tyres, and the question is, will he go to the end? If his tyres can do it, he probably will. If not, it will probably be another medium tyre later on in this race. But of course, the top 4 hasn't changed. Of course, we have seen Jack Humphreys jump up into the top 5 ahead of Riley McKay, who's dropped down to 7th. And then also, I'm noticing further back, we saw Jono lose DRS, and now it's Marcus Costa that has lost DRS. So there, over time, this DRS train is starting to build, and nearly for a moment, Batman was outside of the DRS.
Yeah, I mean, this is a test of fortitude, really, mental fortitude, in a bid to, stay with those front runners. It's all well and good, being able to be on the same tyres. Now we see a little look here from the Williams of Yusuf's side on OFI Princess being Oscar King. Elsewhere, we did have a close encounter between Joshua Lee and Marcus Costa as well. Sebastian King moving up into 15th place as well, who just recently celebrated not too long ago his first points in the OFI. Riley McKay now looking to return the serve against Dante in the RB as the RB meets Red Bull, and McKay now sends himself to P6. So that's one place returned back to him as MJ Roller and Sebastian King come together as well, and King now on the reply, going wheel to wheel as well. But it will be Roller who holds on. Costa and Joshua Lee once again dicing over P10, and Joshua Lee still persevering here as they come under turn 14's tunnel, and it is still Costa who holds on to 10th now, but he is going to be so vulnerable, 2.1 seconds back from Oxchillo.
Oh, and Costa's into the pit lane, so
that's early.
That was really slow, didn't it, from Marcus Costa? So I'm not sure if he had damage, because he was really slow through that final sector and lost over a second to Oxchillo. So look at that gap, and you've kind of got a battle for the top 9 and a battle for 10th and below.
Well, first pit stop does come in at lap 9. Now, we did wonder whether it would be, well, I personally reckon it would be around about lap 12, but this is a very decisive measure laid down by Costa. I would say, Nathan, at this point, this is just basically suggesting that they've chewed the tyres. That is just down to the drivers. Obviously, many of them have the ability to make the tyres last. It seems like that might not be necessarily in the list of attributes that Marcus Costa carries as a driver. Perhaps has abused those tyres a little bit more than most.
Certainly could be. And as we look as well, Ryan Bell has got ahead of Joey Snarf in the pit lane. So, of course, Ryan Bell going for that early pit stop has made that work slightly to get at least one position off of the back of his mistakes earlier on in this race. And of course, looking back up at the top 4, they're still consistently sitting where they are. Of course, it's Adams, Fat Cat Batman, Oscar King and Yusuf side the top 4. Looking further down as well, because of that train being lost for Joshua Lee, he's got Trent Newton to deal with, and also Apollo Pepsi, the second of the 2 kicks, and then T-Mac, of course, our winner of the giveaway, sitting behind those guys in 13th. But the question is now, does anybody else decide to pit? Because we've seen 2 cars pit, I presume, without any damage. Joshua Lee is next in, and I suppose with having such a big gap to the train, it might as well be the time for him to go in, go for that undercut, just try and bring that gap down so when the others come in, it's not a 2.5 second gap.
Well, especially when you're outside of DRS, you do need to kind of think of something a little bit different in order to potentially cause a stir in your own race. I mean, obviously the one benefit you will have now is that you will have better tyres than Marcus Costa, who's already had a lap on him. Sebastian King already in as well, as now we watch Joshua Lee come through. Marcus Costa has ultimately surpassed Joshua Lee. Now remember, Joshua Lee was threatening Costa prior to them both making their pit stops, and now Lee coming through. Oh my goodness, yeah, Batman's gone! My goodness me, Nathan, Batman has sunk a big mistake here by Bruce Swain, and also by extension Campbell Adams losing places. Oscar King leads here at Abu Dhabi.
Indeed, and what happened was, heading into turn 6, I think Fat Cat Batman broke a little bit too late and tapped the rear of Campbell Adams LP, and they both went spinning ground. And there's an opportunity. Oh, dear me, that was close. Jack Humphries fending off from his fellow McLaren.
Yeah, he just got all squirrely coming out of turn 9 in towards turn 10, and Humphries now half a second off the back of Adams. That's not outside of DRS, but now that might allow an invite here from Bruce Swain to try and at least get one place back after losing it before. And now Riley McKay taking this opportunity. Now that's smart. Coming to the pits now whilst the grid is so constrained here.
Certainly, and now this is kind of comfortability for Oscar King. Once he gets into that leading spot, we know he's very consistent there, as Marcus Costa first of the 3 second time penalties. That is for multiple track limit violations. That would have been 3 to his name. Not good at all for Marcus Costa, down in 15th currently, as of course we do see Ronald McKay head into the pit lane. He'll sit in 12th, but of course that will be the net lead of the race due to everybody else in the top 11 not heading to the pit lane just yet. But of course, not good at all for Batman and not good at all for Campbell Adams. And I think the shameful part is, I think Campbell's in a better position to try and fight back into the lead than Fat Cat Batman is.
I would definitely agree. I think ultimately Fat Cat Batman now has got a lot of work to do. Of course, he is getting the tow from fellow McLaren driver Jack Humphries. Campbell Adams now currently sat 3rd place at the moment, and half a second away from Yusuf's side, with Oscar King still leading the way. The rear light flashing, as we have seen already on numerous numbers of these drivers. Obviously, it does flash when the rain falls, but no rain falling here at Abu Dhabi, of course. It is merely just to charge that battery to get set for yet another lap. We are on lap 11 of 29. I would firmly expect more drivers to come into the pits, and yes, they do. Campbell Adams, an instant reply to what we saw, as Jack Humphries picks up a 3 second time penalty as well. So in comes Campbell Adams for his stop. Jack Humphries doing the same too. So this in response from what we saw from Riley McKay. So keep your beady eyes on this RB, everybody, as he now comes through the final corners. But McKay now with a 3 second time penalty. So that's added to his race time come the end of the race. Obviously, I'd imagine he will surpass the likes of Jack Humphries and Campbell Adams now as he crosses the line. Marcus Costa picks up the fastest lap of the race, and very helpfully for his race, getting a tow from McKay, but does have older tyres than McKay, obviously because he boxed prior to Riley McKay himself.
Certainly, and I think that's a great thing for Campbell Adams and Oscar King and Yusuf and Fat Cat Batman, is that cars around them in that battle have got penalties, and that just helps them feel a little bit more comfortable knowing as long as they don't make a mistake, they can get those positions anyway because of the on-track penalties. So brilliant for those guys, but a big shame for Jack Humphries and for Riley McKay. And also, Marcus Costa is in the mix there with those guys up at the front. And of course, we noticed he made a bit of a mistake on the end of that final stint, lost a lot of time. The question is whether he's got the pace to keep up here. If he has, he could still be on for a very good result here despite that 3 second penalty.
I think also Fat Cat Batman made a mistake by not boxing that previous lap, I think at this point, but he couldn't afford really to double stack with the McLaren. If Jack Humphries came in, that would have put him on the back foot, but ideally Fat Cat Batman needed to box that lap because he's now 2.4 seconds back. He's also got a 6 second time penalty now, just due to that last 3 seconds being added to his initial 3 as well. T-Mac also receiving some Yusuf's side now into the pits, and has ultimately been thrusted into the prime spots, the pound seats in this race. But now, seeing as others have already boxed prior to Yusuf's side, he's going to lose out a lot of time. Oscar King seeing fit to carry on here for yet another lap on lap 13, not choosing to box just yet. Matt Plevey doing the same. Yusuf's side will rejoin, but where does he come out in all of this, as now we see them all flurrying through. Joshua Lee now coming side by side here, this time with side as they head down through towards turn 5. Who's going to grasp P7 in this exchange? The Williams up the inside of Yusuf's side and will very easily move his way through comfortably past Joshua Lee, but it's wheel to wheel elsewhere as the Alpine, this time of Campbell Adams, looks to dice it out here and now, with Marcus Costa remains in front of Costa and now on the tail of rival Riley McKay.
And the shameful part is I know exactly what these penalties are. That glitch seems to still exist. Heading into the pit lane, sometimes you just get given a random 3 second penalty. It gives you 3 warnings and a penalty. And that's what we've seen happen before, and that's what's happened to at least 4 drivers here who have headed into the pit lane. So that is a big shame for those, because now it means they're going to have to fight where they are, but try their best to get that removed. post-race.
Yeah, Jack Humphreys also on the tail of Marcus Costa, not opting to make the move despite being so close behind now. Campbell Adams haunting the rear wing of Riley McKay here on lap 14. We are just one lap behind. We're on, actually. We've surpassed the halfway point. It was actually the midway point of lap 14 that we reached the halfway stages. Now we see more pit stops get ushered in. This time I think Matt Plevey comes into the pits, and yes, he does, as now we see Riley McKay charging down through towards turn 1 with Campbell Adams just behind. Now, Oscar King still yet to pit here, or has he? No, he has come in. He's come in now, so the Ferrari now exiting the pits. He's already stopped. He's now rejoining the action, and now, crucially, well behind Campbell Adams, but does have fresher tyres. He's being joined side by side now with Fat Cat Batman, who will hold no qualms at trying to stick his nose down the inside, but can't do it. And Campbell Adams now takes the lead of the race, surpassing Riley McKay here on lap 14. P1 in his pocket, but now others are starting to stack up and join the fight. It's rear wing open though for Campbell Adams. They charge down through towards turn 6. Here comes Yusuf Said. He's going to look up the inside now as well and moves past Marcus Costa, and it's P4 now for Yusuf Said.
Indeed, and a big send there from Oscar King, now on the back of Marcus Costa. Oscar has made one position, he's looking to make two as Riley McKay back into the lead of the race in towards turn 9. So to the RB, back on top, of course, with the time penalty. So that will work in the favour of Campbell Adams as Fat Cat Batman makes a move. Well, still going for the move side by side with Joshua Lee, but he gets that one done up into P7 now for the McLaren. And next on his list potentially could be Oscar King, because Fat Cat Batman for a moment there was absolutely flying through on this on lap 14 of 29. Of course, we're still at that halfway point of the race. Anything can change, but Marcus Costa is kind of holding a few up, and if he can stay there, he's got a really good chance of a top 5.
Well, also, remember, Fat Cat Batman not scoring points here in this race. He could be the ultimate thorn in the side of Oscar King here at this stage. And ultimately, Oscar King's not too worried about Fat Cat Batman. He's more concerned about what's in front of him, and that is Marcus Costa. He just had a little bit of a look up the inside, and having a look up the inside also is Dante. Another one of our wildcard entries trying to take on Joshua Lee as they now charge down through towards turn 6. Once again, breaking under the arrow now, Fat Cat Batman, but in comes Dante. Now looking to try and move past Joshua Lee's Kick Sauber, unable to do it, but here comes King now up the inside of Marcus Costa and plants himself into P5, and the Mercedes now ahead of the McLaren of Bruce Wayne in 7th place.
Certainly, and already we can see Batman looking to get ahead of Marcus Costa too. He's in 7th now. The gap's a tenth of a second.
Oh,
wasn't quite close enough to go ahead, but deep from the Mercedes. Is this a move for Fat Cat Batman? Nearly, but not quite. And with the pace loss here for Costa, Fat Cat Batman has got to get this move done now.
Yeah, and a fantastic effort as well from Campbell Adams to try and send Riley McKay an obscure line, trying to throw him off here at the very front of the order. But at the moment, regardless, Campbell Adams will pick up the victory here. Obviously, with 3 seconds of time penalties going to McKay, 3 seconds going to Jack Humphreys, who sits inside the top 3, being joined by Yusuf Said. I mean, we could see this top 3 ultimately get spun right round here at the very end of this race, should it remain as it does. It will be Adams, as it stands, taking victory here at Abu Dhabi.
Certainly is Costa, another penalty to his name. That gives him 6 seconds of penalties, as Ryan Bell has retired in the pit lane. Not good at all for the Aston Martin, as here goes Fat Cat Batman makes a move ahead of Marcus Costa, up into P6 for him. Further ahead, we do see as well Yusuf Said having to defend from Oscar King. This is for the battle for net P2 in the race. It's side by side down towards turn 6, and Oscar King has a really big opportunity.
Really big opportunity for King. Now looks to try and stomach the pressing blow coming out of turn 6, now through turn 7, and it will be King who reigns supreme here in P4 here for Ferrari, and now looking to chase down after Jack Humphreys now, and he's only 3 steps away from tasting P1 glory here at Yas Marina. Also Adams just flurrying in behind that rear wing of Riley McKay. It's 4 of your top Oceanic drivers now starting to now move up into those top 4 places. The Avengers have assembled here. Of course, that's part of the Marvel verse, certainly not part of DC Comics like Bruce Wayne is down in P6 right now, who also has 6 seconds of penalties against his name as we watch McKay coming through the final corner. Adams now looking to curtail through turn 16 and now charge down through towards turn 1, with Jack Humphreys also in the midst of this. Oscar King sat down in 4th. Yusuf Said, though, having another fantastic race down in 5th place and looking to also bolster his own positioning here, because as it stands, he will get a podium at the close of this, because 2 of the drivers in the top 5 have those 3-second time penalties.
Certainly, and that just shows the consistency. Oh, me, that was a bit of a send. That is a send indeed. Campbell Adams from about 3/10 back in towards turn 5. Goes for the move ahead of Riley McKay, has the DRS as well to compensate, and dear me, that was close. I don't know if that was a misjudgment initially, as here goes Jack Humphries and Oscar King into turn 6.
Yeah, Oscar King now at the inside, looking to try and grasp it. Campbell Adams now has managed to plant his car now to the top, or is Riley McKay going to take it back? He can't. It is now on top. Adams, or is it? Outside line here from McKay. Here comes King. We're almost 3 wide here at the very front here, as now McKay flies through turn 9, and Oscar King side by side here with the Alpine, and King moves up into 2nd place, hoovers up Campbell Adams here on lap 17, but back comes Adams once again, as then they all squabble over the top 3 places.
Indeed, and now Jack Humphries looking for an opportunity, as Fat Cat Batman has also cemented himself into this battle, currently sitting in P6, but dear oh dear, that was very close in towards turn 12, and though, well, the positions are swapped around massively, but Riley McKay still holds the lead ahead of Oscar King. Campbell Adams now net 2nd, net 3rd still is Yusuf Said, as we head in towards turn 1 again, and let's see if there's any bold moves into turn 5 like we saw on the last lap. We head on to lap 18 of 29, and of course this is a big moment now for Campbell Adams. He's closing in on the back of Oscar King, looking to make the move into turn 5. He's closed up to the inside, he's got to be side by side in the corner. It's all about the exit here, a bet for Oscar King and Campbell Adams, and they're still going to be side by side down towards turn 6.
They absolutely are. Nose to tail now, the gap thinner than a fly's eyelash. It's King in 2nd, but now here comes Campbell Adams, 2 rivals in the OFI this season, both of whom missing out on the championship, as did Riley McKay, because it went the way of Gregory Prisball. But we're now seeing 3 of your top 4 in the championship now start to duke it out over the final race win of the season here in OFI, and here comes Oscar King now. A look to the outside on Riley McKay as they dash through towards turn 9. King going the long way round. The King is back and nose in front of the Ferrari. The prancing horse now prances into P1, and it's King who leads here at Abu Dhabi.
Certainly a great move there by Oscar King around the outside at turn 9, and he needed to make that move now. And of course, Riley McKay has been very, very ambitious in his battling. So a great move by Oscar King, and there was no troubles at all from McKay as we head through the final corner. Back down towards turn 1 we go. And of course, Campbell Adams now to close in again on the back of Riley McKay. This was a battle for the lead earlier on. Now it's a battle for P2, because Oscar King has got a decent gap ahead of over 0.8 of a second now to Riley McKay, as we do see Marcus Costa head into the pit lane again. It's not been the best race for him, onto more hard tyres to the end. And then also Fat Cat Batman on the back of Yusuf Said was looking for the move, but just not quite close enough. But back down towards turn 6 we go again, and this time we can see Yusuf Said closing in on the back of Jack Humphries.
Yeah, he's getting closer to the back of Humphries this time, and could be the next driver to pull the plug on a position here. And indeed, let's have a look to the inside here this time on Humphries, but not enough at least to close on the back of Humphries, 3-time OFI champion, but now under pressure from the Williams of Yusuf Said, who has been largely right up there in the title fray. Has just been on the outside of it, watching from the window, looking in, as Oxchillo now moves ahead of Joshua Lee for 8th as well. We've got 10 laps or so to go here at Yas Marina, and it's Oscar King who is now half a second up the road, bidding to become a race winner this season in OFI for the first time. Can you believe we're even saying that, just based on King's prior performances in the OFI in the past? Well, Riley McKay also a race winner prior as well, but he could become, Oscar King, our 4th different race winner this season, should he take this Abu Dhabi success.
Indeed, we head back down towards turn 1. Lap 20 of 29 is underway, and Jono has been given another 3-second time penalty. He's down in P11, so that's good for Apollo Pepsi. Could move up 1 spot in towards P10, and then of course, depending on the gaps ahead, could even go ahead of potentially Fat Cat Batman and Jack Humphries, with the gaps being so close at the moment, as the McLaren now closing in on the Williams as they head through turn 5, and then they head back down towards the chicane at turn 6 and turn 7. And this time around, though, it seems like the drivers have calmed down a little bit more now, heading into this braking zone. Unless Batman's looking for the move. He's closing in. He's going to send the inside. I think it was a dummy, but he ended up really having to commit to that one as Jono gets past Trent Newton up into P10.
Yeah, obviously Jono fresh from the 3-second time penalty that was given to him. Now he dances up inside the top 10, albeit just on track. Will need to do a little bit more though. Needs to grow the gap ideally to P11 if he wants to stay there, as now we see further back Newton looking all over the back of Jono once again. Both cars with rear wings open, both of whom having DRS. Jono getting his from Joshua Lee, just in front of P9, who has just lost DRS, just, well, briefly, off the back of Oxchillo. So now they come down through towards the final sector again. It's still King, though, your race leader here on lap 20, soon to begin lap 21. 8 laps of magic still remain in the final race of the season here in the OFI Cup. Brought to you and powered by Motorsport Australia. We thank you for your company, as always, folks at home. As now they dance through turn 1 once again. McKay, Adams, also following suit in behind, with Humphreys down in 4th, once again putting on a decent show, with Yusuf Said down in 5th. And then Fat Cat Batman Bruce Wayne in P6 with 6 seconds of time penalties ahead of Dante, who will surely profit off the back of Batman's misery, and also Jack Humphreys as well. I mean, Dante could gain a fleet of places the way these penalties currently stand.
Yeah, certainly. Would be potentially P4 for Dante, which would be brilliant on his first race here in the OFI Cup. And of course, net top 3 at the moment would be Oscar King, Campbell Adams and Yusuf Said, who has actually lost DRS to Jack Humphreys, or at least he's flirting around with losing the DRS to Jack Humphreys. That is not what Yusuf Said needs. As we head our way back down towards turn 9, and a little bit further back we can see Sebastian King has been back into the pit lane onto a brand new set of hard tyres, taking those, I believe, to the end of the race. And also Marcus Costa going ahead of Matt Clevey up into P15 for him. And of course, the battling up front has certainly calmed down a little bit more, as Oxchillo still trying to get back within a second of Dante. He's had a decent race, but I expected a little bit more from the Haas driver after his superb laps in qualifying.
Well, at the moment, as it stands, I mean, I wouldn't say that Campbell Adams is out of this just yet. The question is, will he actually go for the move? And by extension, then try and challenge Oscar King. The one thing that goes against him, though, is that Oscar King does have only 8 laps against those hard tyres. At the moment, there are 10 laps against Campbell Adams right now. So if you're looking at the tyre wear situation, that really does go in the favour of Oscar King, who is now really starting to advance his charge against Riley McKay. And remember, McKay has 11 laps on his hard tyres. And now outside of a second, Oscar King could break DRS here, heading through towards turn 6. But bear in mind, if McKay does have DRS, he will be able to use it to at least rein in Oscar King for the time being. But it's in the corners where that traction is oh so necessary. And if you are in free fall in terms of your tyre performance, then you will pay the price on these straights when you need that DRS, because you won't get it. But luckily enough for McKay, he does grasp it this time. But in my view, Campbell Adams needs to get a move done ASAP to have any possible chance of taking on Oscar King for this race leaders. Now Jono moves into P9 ahead of Joshua Lee.
Indeed, lots of pace here for Jono despite having that penalty. But of course, yes, it's a bit of a plug in the way here is Riley McKay for Campbell Adams. Campbell needs to get that move done, and then he can focus on battling with Oscar King for the win of the race. As we, of course, look back then to P5, Yusuf Said on the back of Jack Humphreys there, a couple of tenths apart, heading out to the final corner. Back down towards turn 1. I wouldn't say that this is that crucial for Yusuf, because I don't think he quite has the pace to match Campbell Adams, but he certainly has the pace for P3 as he goes off the track, rejoins, and that will of course bring Batman closer. But I think he also made a mistake because he gained no time there heading through the exit of turn 1.
Well, this is the move that Campbell Adams has been waiting for. He's now given the opportunity to attack Riley McKay, who gets run off wide, coming out of turn 5 this time. So it's going to be side by side between these two. The Alpine has made the move stick and now trying to break the toe. So we said that he had to break past him. He knew that McKay was slowing him down. He had to make the move here, Campbell Adams. Now Oscar King needs to hope that they continue to fight as now they take the off track. My goodness me, and a penalty for Campbell Adams of 10 seconds for the corner cut, and that ultimately squashes his race here.
Well, that means Dante is promoted currently into a podium spot if things stay the way they are. Oh dear me, that was, well, Campbell went deep into the corner, but I also think because of where Riley was positioned, Campbell didn't have the best view to run back onto the track. So I think at some essence, yes, he had to go off, but at the same time, I don't think he made that much of an effort to stay on. A little bit like what happened with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen back in 2021 at that same corner. But dear me, that has really threw a curveball into the race. Oscar King looks set on a victory here, no mistake, and he's easily taken that one. Of course, use of P2, but then Dante on for a potential podium.
Well, I mean, that was a straight 10 seconds that was, ushered in for Campbell Adams, as Yusuf Said picks up a 3-second as well. More good news for Dante, who will now get, I think by extension here, a possible P2 come the end of this, because everyone else in front of him, bar Oscar King, has received a penalty. And bear in mind, the largest of them go in the way of Campbell Adams. Now, I just wanted to say, I was going to make a point. Campbell Adams was not given a third warning for that corner cut. It was a straight 10 seconds for abusing those track limits. So if he gets another warning, he could get another 3 seconds, which will amass to 13 should that happen. But now as they come out of turn 6 and now through turn 7, now turn 8, King now with company, but now we'll rest assured knowing that even if Campbell Adams makes the move, the win is still almost confirmed. It's almost determined that it'll be in his pocket, and Riley McKay very nearly outside of DRS.
Certainly, and of course this helps Oxchillo as well. I was saying earlier on, I expect him to be a bit higher, but he could easily be on for a top 5 here, given the penalties for those ahead. But of course, you've got 5 laps to go. You've got to try and stick with those who have got penalties, and I've noticed now that Riley McKay has pulled away from Yusuf Said, so that's going to help him and Campbell Adams move forward and potentially disrupt Dante and his chance of going for a top spot here in this race. I think either way, finishing inside the top 7 against a very competitive top 6 would be good for Dante, but he's either way going to make at least 1 or 2 spots because of penalties for the 2 McLarens ahead, and then also for Yusuf Said too. As we look further back as well, of course, Joshua Lee and Trent Newton, they could maybe pick up a spot or 2 because of the 6 seconds given to Fat Cat Batman and also the 10 seconds given to Campbell Adams. And that just shows how quickly a penalty can ruin a race. And I think it was a bit of desperation there for Campbell Adams to get ahead of Riley McKay because he got the move, but then he had to go for it straight away, back again.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, obviously at the same time, they've had a fraught battle, both Campbell Adams and Riley McKay. They've had their spirited moments in the past. And again, another one has been brought to the furore here. The good news for Riley McKay also is that whilst he stays in front of Yusuf Said and also Fat Cat Batman and Jack Humphreys, McKay could walk away with a podium here as well. In fact, he might inherit that P2 in itself because Dante is still half a second behind Humphreys. By that extension, 7 tenths is the gap between Humphreys and Batman. And then the 1.3 seconds to Yusuf Said. You very quickly start eating into that 3 seconds of penalty that McKay has against Dante right now. So McKay could still take that P2. It is not out of the question. The one thing that he does need to do is try and not lose too much time to Dante down in P7. That's what he needs to do. Just needs to manage the current situation, because at the moment Campbell Adams is not a threat, and that is why I think that he is quite happy to not necessarily worry too much about Campbell Adams. As I said earlier on, that final warning was awaited. It's now 13 seconds now against the name of Campbell Adams.
I knew exactly what he was doing there. Every time he could, he'd run a little bit wide, keep going off the track and rejoin in the hopes of not getting given a warning. It worked at the final corner, it worked as well earlier in the lap, but it didn't work then at turn 1, and of course that's that final penalty given away of Campbell Adams, but that would have been in the chance of trying to move forward ahead of Riley McKay, just keep increasing the gap. As here is Yusuf Said in towards turn number 6, gets the move done, but of course Riley McKay is waiting again to go back for the move in towards turn 9. We've got Batman there as well, also looking to close in. So Said now has to fend off from 2 cars down to turn 9. McKay back on the outside. Can he keep the move into turn 9? It's going to be close. They head in side by side, but deep goes McKay and through. Nearly goes Batman. Yeah,
Batman very nearly find the avenue there to move up into 4th. Unfortunately, the door was slammed shut. The opportunity did not present itself, but here and now, Dante's got something to fight for here, because thanks to Yusuf Said, the gaps have now once again constrained, and if anything, it's brought Dante to within that 3-second margin. So if they continue to squabble, it's only going to go in favour of that Red Bull. And I'm sure there's going to be more squabbling even between now and the end of the race. We still have 3 laps or so to bring you, folks. Oscar King still in front. The gap now has sprung out to 1.2 seconds. So now the DRS has gone for Campbell Adams. He's now in no man's land, and Oscar King can now enjoy these final couple to 3 laps at the very least before we hit the checkered flag, where he'll enjoy his first win in the OFI this season.
Indeed, as all this is, Jack Humphries going for a bit of a late send on the back of his teammate. Couldn't quite make that one work, and that brings Dante closer and closer again as we head down towards turn 6. We see Batman and McKay side by side as well for P4 as Batman makes a move ahead of McKay, and then also Dante not sure where to go. 6 behind the back of Jack Humphries, who hits the side of Riley McKay as they head out of turn 7, and yet again a bit of a Constantina effect, and Dante loses a slight bit of time, but at the moment Dante's easily on for a top 4, but of course he'd love to take that top 3. But as I said earlier on, for him, having that position is still great, as here goes Oxchillo around the outside.
Yeah, we haven't seen much from Oxchillo so far, but he's going to try and flex his muscles past Dante. Doesn't look like he's quite found the avenue yet, though. Dante doing a good job of defending that spot for the time being. Needs to try, though, and get past the likes of Jack Humphries, and then by extension, Riley McKay to have a chance of nestling himself a podium here at the close of this race. Of course, marking his wildcard appearance in smart fashion is Dante. Just to give you guys, sort of an illustration as to what's happening really at the moment. Dante has got one warning left before he receives a 3-second time penalty. So we've got to tread with caution here, otherwise he will miss out on some big places. As now we're on the penultimate lap of the race, it's Oscar King who automatically throws the gap out to nearly 5 seconds now, and that was over the course of a short window. That last lap difference, we're talking approximately over 3.5 seconds there, Nathan.
Yeah, surely Campbell Adams has made a mistake or has tried to close up and give Youssef Said a chance to have a battle. I'm not sure there, but that gap has shot up between Campbell Adams and Oscar King, as we head back down towards turn 6 again. Nobody this time looking to make a move, but of course this is perfect for Dante and Oxchillo, and potentially is Campbell Adams trying to hold everybody up to help those further back try and get those extra positions here. Well, because he's got nothing to lose now as he lets Youssef Said through.
This is very interesting. Youssef Said now given an opportunity. Now I wonder whether this is Campbell Adams helping him out, or whether, I'm not sure what's going on with Campbell Adams. What on earth is happening to the Alpine? Fat Cat Batman has moved up into third. Campbell Adams takes another 10 seconds of time penalties. That's 23 now. So is now in free fall in this timing screen and has fallen outside of the top 10 and continues to descend now. So it's Oscar King 5.2 ahead of Youssef Said, another 10 seconds going the way of Campbell Adams, and Bruce Wayne now sits in third. We're now on to the final lap, and Oscar King coming through turn 1 now kickstarts the final lap of the race, and Dante now with a great chance here to nestle in a podium here at Abu Dhabi.
Certainly, but Oxchillo knows that podium is on for him as well, so he's pushing as hard as he can to make the move ahead of Dante. This could become a very scrappy final lap here for these two, as Oxchillo on the back, not making the move. Campbell Adams retires in the pit lane. Of course, he would have had over 40 seconds of penalties there, but Oxchillo hasn't got the run out to the final corner. The gap between Fat Cat Batman and Dante is just over 2 seconds. If it stays like this, then Dante is going to be on the podium, but either way, the fact that both of our wildcards here, George, in the final race of the season, are 3rd and 6th. Technically, I think, yeah, either way, it'd be 3rd and 6th anyway because of penalties, is insane.
Yeah, I think it's remarkable. Great to see some new talent coming through and rising to the furore. Oscar King making his way through the final sectors so far as we now watch them come through towards turn 9. It is currently Dante holding on to 6, but Oxchillo is going to keep on pressurising him for an opportunity at taking the big prize as they now come through towards the final sector. Here comes Oxchillo for another look, but can't find it. We take, though, cast our eyes to the front because the King is back, baby! It's Oscar King who will notch together his first win in the OFI Cup. It's a stunning display, his first OFI Cup win this season, and makes it 4 different winners here in this season of the OFI. Youssef Said coming across the line in second, and it's a podium for our wildcard entry. Dante, who remains ahead of Oxchillo, taking 3rd place on the podium, with Riley McKay sinking to 5th, with Humphries and Fat Cat Batman completing the top 7, Jono in 8th, Joshua Lee in 9th, Trent Newton into 10th as well. But it's Oscar King, your winner here at Abu Dhabi.
Well, there we go. I mean, that was a very, very intense, I'd say, last 10 laps. We had the whole thing of everybody being so close together. Then we had Campbell Adams and Riley McKay's little excursion at turn 6. And then, of course, we had everyone close up, get penalties, and bring one of our wildcard racers onto a podium. And I think we've probably had wildcard racers in the past. I can't think of many that have ended up taking a podium, it's safe to say. So, Dante, I've got to say a very big well done to you, because if it was I mean, Oscar King took a win very well done, and also Yusuf, but they're used to being up at the top. Dante isn't. So for him, it's new territory.
It is new territory for Dante, and what does this mean for the future of OFI? I'm not quite sure. Regardless, it is a victory here for Oscar King, and indeed, Ferrari can once again sing this season for the first time this campaign in the OFI, brought to you and powered by Motorsport Australia. Fantastic drive from him. Of course, second, Yusuf Said having once again a cracking race to close out the OFI Cup as well this campaign too. And then welcome Dante to the Furore. What could it mean having these new drivers come in for the very first time, bringing in this statement of success? Obviously, remember, they don't score points, but this, for me, is an indicator that there is more to come from the Oceanic regions. A stunning thing to see. And welcome aboard to those drivers that have joined us for this final round here at Abu Dhabi. It doesn't look like we're going to get the results screen here at this point, but we can obviously confirm that it will be Oscar King, your winner, here at the close of this race. A remarkable effort from all those involved. What a season it has ultimately been. Congratulations obviously has to go to Gregory Prisball at the same time too. Credit where credit's due. It's been a remarkable season. We hope you've all enjoyed it as well. I certainly have. We're going to have interviews as well to bring you shortly, folks. But Nathan, just give us your reaction. I mean, what a way for a race to finish. Obviously, we saw a huge amount of battling just after the pit stops were made. Ultimately, it was Oscar King who rose to the front, had the freshest tyres of anybody inside that top end. That ultimately made the difference. So I think Campbell Adams will be kicking himself at probably some of the errors that were made in that second stint.
Certainly, and I think it was just desperation there for Adams, because obviously once Oscar King ran up the road, it was always P2 on for Campbell Adams, but he went for that silly send on Ronald McKay, took off the track and got that penalty, and then the race just went down and downhill for him. So I think too much desperation there for Campbell Adams, but at the end of the day, at least he took part and came along for the racing. But of course, he's going to have to look at doing the same next season and trying to take wins in the next season of racing. But of course, brilliant for Yusuf as well, up into P2, qualified in P5 and got a well-deserved podium. And then of course Dante and Fat Cat Batman, drivers that we all thought originally probably wouldn't have really done much in the top 10 at all, being as they're new racers that haven't raced in this grid before. They came in and did a superb job. So in my opinion, a bit of a perfect send-off to this season. Absolutely
right. Well, we can bring in Dante for a quick chat anyway. I'm very keen to talk to him. We can also bring in Oscar King as well. Our race winner is here in the comms box waiting room. We will be able to pull him in hopefully very shortly, folks, so do sit tight, everybody. I mean, what a race, what a way to cap off the final round of OFI here today. It's truly been a remarkable experience. Credit to everyone involved. Just waiting here patiently now for Discord to sort itself out. We've had a couple of updates here from Discord lately, and for me, it's been ultimately damaging. In the initial, though, we can bring in Dante, who will now have a chat with us off the back of a marvellous debut appearance. His microphone is currently muted at this moment in time. Dante, you're with us right now.
Hello.
Welcome to the OFI and welcome to the podium. Congratulations. You must be absolutely thrilled with that.
Yeah, mate, over the moon with that. I was not expecting that. First of all, starting from P9 and also racing, in the top league of Australia. So yeah, very overwhelmed.
Yeah, I'd imagine it probably means a lot, contesting against some of the top drivers in the Aussie region. Obviously, Gregory Prisball, whilst he was not here, you had to contest against the likes of Oscar King. You had to take on the likes of Campbell Adams. These are names synonymous. Jack Humphreys as well. Yusuf Said, who's also in the podium places with you. You were one of a few wildcard entries that came in for this final round. You must be absolutely thrilled. I mean, like you say, first venture into this, and you're on the podium. Doesn't get much bigger than that, right?
Yeah, no, really big accomplishment for me. I'm quite proud of myself, and yeah, just feels surreal.
Yeah, and obviously you qualified P9 ahead of the race. You had to move your way forward. What was your approach coming into the race? Were you nervous at all?
No, I mean, obviously, don't want to set your goal too high, but I set a pretty reachable goal, and that was to reach Q3, and I'd already done it. So from there, it was really just the goal was to retain my position in P9. But then after seeing the Aston spin in turn one, I really had to avoid there. And yeah.
We do seem to be having some challenges with the Discord at the moment, folks. So, yeah, we will, of course, continue the interview. I'm going to throw it over to you, Nathan. Have you got a question for Dante here?
I don't have a question, no, but of course, Dante, great job on you, joining the grid here. Actually, no, I'll have a question. I'll think of one. So, of course, brilliant race today. Pace was extraordinary, especially in the race. So consistent. You seem quite calm and, collected. Do you think you'll be looking at doing some league racing, potentially PSGL, WR in the future, if you're already not there?
I mean, the time zones aren't exactly the best for, us Aussies, but maybe in the future I'll try, attend a few races, see my paces out with the rest of the world.
Brilliant stuff.
Anyway, Dante, mate, great job. Really good race, and congratulations on your first podium.
Thank you, guys. Great commentating tonight.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Have a good one, mate. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much, Dante, for joining us in the commentary box. We will bring in Oscar King now as well to talk about his race win at the same time. We're just waiting to bring him in. In fact, I might be able to chuck him in now. In fact, Slammer's done it for me. Thank you, Slammer. We've got Oscar King joining us here in the commentary box as well. Oscar, you get your first win of this season at the very last chance of asking. You must be thrilled with that. The strategy pulled through brilliantly. Ultimately, you were on the best tyres of the bunch as well come the closing stages. I suppose you were probably pleased in knowing that no one tried an alternate strat, really. Everyone was on mediums at the start.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the hard med's pretty rare on this game, and especially here, it's not likely to work too well, especially in a race like that. So yeah, no, going along and getting the delta, I knew that was going to be valuable, and I was able to make the overtakes when I needed to.
Well, it was a good effort. I mean, obviously, the initial stages, the job that you had was effectively moving your way through the field past a plethora of cars. Obviously, the immediate threat was Campbell Adams towards the very end, but he made a crucial mistake, which unfortunately led to, in his case, led to him dropping down through the field. It left you an open platform for you to attack the lead, and you took it, eventually breaking DRS. It just seemed to be business as usual out there.
Yeah, I mean, working through the train early on, that's always kind of the risk with going long, of course, and especially in this game that's generally not favourable compared to past games. But yeah, once the closing stages had arrived and Campbell was on the back of me, I didn't expect to break him, but in the end I did. I don't know if he had wing damage or something, but the tyre delta was always going to be strong in that to kind of hold the track position all the way to the end.
I mean, we got some new faces as well joining the grid at the OFI as well today, Oscar. There was a couple of whisperings from Fat Cat Batman, who I've now titled Bruce Wayne for the benefits of the viewing audience at home. And also, by extension, we had a first podium in a first race for Dante as well. Is that a stirring of the new blood that's now coming into OFI? We're going to be seeing more Aussies take to the grid and effectively see more of them challenging up at the top, because it was quite close in qualifying.
Yeah, it's quite promising. I suppose people that have been around Australian F1 sim racing for a while would know that the most competitive times for OFI races were a couple of years ago on F1 23, and since then the kind of gap across the field has broadened a little bit. But yeah, it's really promising to see new guys come and race and get closer to the top. I'd encourage them to keep working hard, and if they're running line, which was allowed tonight, then take that off, and then see how far they can go.
Yeah, well, there's the advice from the Ferrari F1 sim racing engineer. We're going to throw it over to Nathan now. Nathan, you got a question?
Indeed, I have. Oscar, welcome. Great to have you back in the commentary box once again. Of course, tonight was a weird one. Abu Dhabi, on any league race I've commentated on, I'm sure George probably has similar feelings, is that you don't often see many struggles in qualifying. You don't often see drivers getting lots of penalties. What was it about tonight, which for some reason everybody just had such a struggle with this track? Was there anything to do with the track temperature maybe, which made everybody struggle?
It's just a difficult track, low grip, tyre delta's worth a lot, and when a lot of strategies on different tyre ages converge, then you see, fighting, because kind of managing your position in the train in that middle part of the race is really critical. And so people are fighting hard, trying to hold their position, and it's pretty easy to get a warning here, to be fair, like a lot of corners where you can just go slightly wide and they can accumulate.
Yeah, certainly. Oscar, well done on the win, mate. Hopefully we'll see you back again next season. But yeah, that's all from me, George. Yeah,
well, there we have it. Oscar King, congratulations. A mighty performance. You are our 4th different race winner this season in the OFI Cup. And we wish you all the very best for the future, and also F1 sim racing. That's just around the corner too.
Yep. Thanks, boys.
Great
Thanks for coming.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. Oscar King, everybody, your winner at Abu Dhabi to close out the season. Well, we're now at the point of the show where, of course, we can announce our winner from our last contest that we were going to be sharing as well. I do have Slammer joining us for this one as well. He's come into the commentary box to join us. It's FST Lucci who wins the final prize-giving round. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Slammer? It's been a phenomenal season. FST Lucci taking the final giveaway award after that race here tonight.
Yeah, what a what an end to the season. So yeah, congratulations to, I think it's Lucky FST. Yeah, I think it's Lucky. But yeah, congratulations to him. So I know him within the community as well, or know of him within the community. So it won't be like last time where we had to give it away to a random. This is one of us. So yeah, I'm really rapt that one of us could get this prize, which was so kindly donated by Next Level Racing for this week, or for this last round. It was, and what an awesome race too, by the way.
Oh, incredible!
Yeah, I loved it, absolutely loved it, and great comps from you guys as per usual. The shining lights of, well, sim racing, but real life racing as well, as many people would know. So yeah, just it didn't feel like the best of seasons as an overall for me. But I'm rapt that it finished off with a bang. And of course, we had Motorsport Australia for the first time supporting us this year, which is huge for, I'm going to call it a sport, for our sport. It's been awesome, absolutely awesome. So it's good to see a lot of people out there watching, following along. So yeah, brilliant, just brilliant.
It is a landmark, is it not, Slammer? Obviously, getting to this point now, of course, I've commentated numerous OFIs with yourself. And, we've seen this progression now. Motorsport Australia stepping in and partnering with the series is a huge leap in any form of motorsport. We're seeing the FIA stepping into it as well, obviously getting involved in various sim racing, esports contests, championships. And now to see Motorsport Australia, recognising sim racing and, of course, your platform, Slammer, as a viable option for any young driver coming through the Aussie region to sort of provide that gateway to the world of F1 sim racing. It doesn't get bigger than that, really, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And look, I know towards the end of Q1, I heard you almost like a bit of an ode to Matt Pleavy, who is hanging up his boots here. But none of this Motorsport Australia connection would happen without Matt. He was the brains, the idea behind it from the very outset. He's been talking to Motorsport Australia for years and years, trying to get this, we'll call it the Codemasters F1 game, onto the map of sim racing under Motorsport Australia. They wouldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They were contractually obliged to not be able to do it. And quite a bit of lobbying from Matt, and then myself later on, sort of got them over the line, and it was his vision. And I know, like, he likes to stay behind the scenes and just do his driving. Just about everyone, I reckon, that's listening would know Matt, or would know him as Plevs through RaceSpec. Many of us, we all know he doesn't do this for himself. He's not one of those guys who's got a self-interest in it. He purely wants the community to grow. He purely wants us to be as competitive and as elite as ever. And this is all he's doing. Yeah. I see Slammer OFI, and I told him this yesterday, that it didn't happen without him. It just did not happen without him. So the fact that he sort of planted the seed and we were able to get Motorsport Australia on board, you would know, George and Nathan, you'd know what sort of contractual obligations these guys would have with Liberty Media and FOM and all the rest of it. It's a minefield, and the fact that we were able to get support from Motorsport Australia under the FIA banner for this, again, I'll call it a sport that we all love. Just delighted, absolutely delighted.
Yeah, it's a big thing for league racing, a big deal as a whole, and obviously it does mean that going forward it invites further opportunity for other drivers to come through. And we saw a big night tonight for our new drivers coming through as well, Slammer. Yeah. The likes of Dante, for example. I think there's more to come from Bruce Wayne as well. Big fan of him, by the way. Yeah, looking forward to seeing whether he can perhaps curb some of the off tracks, and that could have easily been him winning tonight. For example.
Yeah, and look, I look back, George, to a couple of OFIs ago, and I think both of you were in the box back then as well, when this guy by the name of Campbell Adams decided to turn up and have a bit of a drive, and we're like, who's this Campbell Adams guy? Well, Campbell Adams won PSGL F3. doing an absolutely stellar job in F2 this year, and he could definitely be going places. He's one of the elite talents in the world when it comes to this caper. And it was only a couple of OFIs ago, nobody heard of him. Well, let me introduce you to Fat Cat Batman and Dante now, because ladies and gents, these guys put their head down and ass up. It could be them. So this is what it's all about. Trying to get. And I've said it. I said it. I reckon I say it at the end of every series. It's not just the drivers. Yes, the drivers are the where we're looking at, but you're looking at the commentators as well. Lindsay, he's been absolutely stellar through this season, and as you know, this has given him some opportunities as well in real life commentary too. So he wants to follow in your footsteps, just like Fat Cat and Greg and Campbell want to follow in Jarno's footsteps. They look to the best, and giving them a platform to do that, it's really exciting. So small step, and hopefully one day we'll get that giant leap. But it's coming.
It is coming. It definitely is coming with huge momentum as well. Obviously, Slammer, is there anything you want to say to the listening public that are tuning in now, just to close out the OFI season?
Oh, I just want to say a big thank you. That's all. It's a big thank you to yourself, George, Nathan, TK. Unfortunately, we couldn't get him on board last week, but and the rest of the commentary group. Lindsay, I will single out because he was there as a backup several times. And Lindsay, we love you, mate. It's been brilliant. A big congratulations to Gregory, who couldn't drive tonight. He's obviously got his focus elsewhere. But congratulations to him for winning the overall Motorsport Australia OFI Cup. And a big congratulations to Oscar King, who finally gets the gold name in the server. We've got this thing here that you win an OFI championship, you get a gold name. And I know he's quietly wanted one. Now he's got it. So congratulations to him as well. Of course, just a shout out to our stewards. So Reese, Geordie, Fury and Jacob, they're all alumni here. They're all previous drivers in the OFI. And have been doing a stellar job behind the scenes. Thankfully, not too many incidents throughout the whole series. From memory, I reckon there's probably been about 8 across the 10 races. We'll see what happens tonight, though. So yeah, it's been awesome. And of course, Motorsport Australia and Next Level Racing. I think they've just been elite to be able to help us out and to support us, and give us something to vie for what could be Motorsport Australia OFI Cup Part 2, OFI 9, whatever you want to call it. There's something coming around the corner, but for now, I'm just going to pour myself a big scotch on the rocks, sit back and enjoy it.
Merry Christmas, Slammer. Love that. Brilliant. Obviously, what a way to close out the season, and quite rightly so. Nathan, just want to get your reaction to the season as well, and your thoughts and feelings. Obviously, it's been a good season as well. Just weigh in. What are your thoughts on how we have transpired to this point?
I mean, it's been brilliant. I've been here for, I think this is my 3rd season, jumping in for races here and there. And every season it's got even better. Of course, as you both and Slammer have said, this season wasn't as competitive as we've had in the past. But it's nice to see so many drivers wanting to get involved, getting new drivers as well involved into the scene. And of course, a partnership with Motorsport Australia, which is brilliant for the scene, brilliant for the league, and hopefully can, get some more Oceanic drivers involved. If they can see, Motorsport Australia is sponsoring this, let's get involved ourselves and take part. So hopefully, going into next year, going into the next season, 2026 could be a very big year for the OFI Cup.
It definitely could be, and we'll get down to social medias as well, folks. I'm going to kick things off with you, Slammer. I mean, where can they find the Oceania F1 Invitational, the OFI social media channels?
Well, everything. If you just a little bit below where we are here, our Discord's our main go-to. That's where the community lives. But of course, we like to update through Twitter, OFI_Oceania. That's our 2 main ones. So yeah, jump on board if you want to get involved for next season, whenever that may be, depending on what happens with the game. Cody's have got a bit to say about that between now and then. So get involved. And yeah, we're not a league. We try and provide for elite level racing. So anyone that's got any aspirations of elite level racing on the Formula One game, jump on board. You won't regret it.
No, absolutely not. And Nathan, where can they find you?
They can find me over at Twitter, Rex at RichieF1. Replace all the I's with ones you can see just below my name on the screen. And then, of course, you can find me over on Instagram at NathanRichards33 and then TikTok at NathanRichards1.
So there you go. That's where you can find Nathan. You can also find me at George Morgan TV on Twitter, Instagram, and of course TikTok. It's all the same. You can't miss it. But folks, that brings an end to what has been an extraordinary campaign of the OFI Cup, brought to you and powered by Motorsport Australia. Big shout out to our partners as well, Next Level Racing, for their incredible support. Also, it is Gregory Prisball, your champion this season of the OFI Cup. But congratulations, Oscar King, a race winner for the first time this season, and marks our 4th different winner of the campaign. It's been a privilege bringing you all the action, folks. We'll see you next campaign. In the meantime, enjoy your Christmas and New Year. We'll see you in 2026. Goodbye.